All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Victory Lap, a show where we showcase off PBs from various speedrunners within the speedrunning community. And tonight we have a good lineup for everyone. We have 3 runs actually tonight, 2 of which were done by Kirby Masta, who is joining us right now, and then we also have 1 run later on tonight that was done by Supersonic _. Before we get started here, I have a couple of announcements for everyone. As you can tell, I am not nuclear. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty with Nukes, but she will be back next week with no category left behind on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll have another Victory Lap episode in 2 weeks at this time at about 10 p.m. Eastern. I want to remind everyone tonight, we have Unapologetically Black and Fast coming up this weekend, February 11th and 12th. Celebrate Black Excellence and Speedrunning coming up. And you can use !UBAF in Twitch chat for the schedule. A couple games that I'm personally excited for. I'm a big Mega Man person, and there's going to be a Mega Man and Bass speedrun coming up this Sunday. I heard there's going to be some boring football game on Sunday, but we're going to have a little bit of excitement here coming up with Unapologetically Black and Fast, which is going to be a lot more exciting than that. So, get ready for that. But also, I want to remind everyone that Frost Fatale's 2023 prize submissions are now open until February 20th. So that is the end of next weekend. Be sure to get your submissions in if you have any prizes that you would like to submit for the event. But with that, I want to get into this really quickly here because we have a lot of exciting runs here. Kirby is actually a returnee here on Victory Lap and is going to be showing us Fire Emblem Awakening to start with. How are you doing today, Kirby?
Doing okay. Hopefully the audio's okay. I'm not sure what's going on with that right now, but
I will figure it out.
Yeah, technical issues. We all know what technical issues are always fun, especially with sound. But yeah. So I'm Kirby, and I've been speedrunning a lot of different Fire Emblem games. And Awakening was a game. Since Awakening is a game that I used to be lukewarm on, but I've been replaying it a lot recently thanks to someone named Cat1803. And then I'm like, well, let's try learning the speedrun. And it took me 1 day to learn it because it's one of those speedruns where it's really simple, but there's a lot of, because it's also a really simple speedrun, it's really tight in terms of time. Like every few seconds matters a lot more in this kind of speedrun as opposed to like a longer run like 3 houses and such. And it's also just a lot of luck involved with this kind of speedrun. It took me 1 day to learn it, but that's also because I just have a lot of experience learning these games. And after this run, I'll be showing off a recent world record I got with Sonic Advance 2, and with a really good run there too. So Awakening, I think before we get started, I think it's important to talk about the main character for Awakening, who is not Chrom, but Robin, who is a customizable avatar in this game. And spoiler alert, Robin's going to be doing the main bulk of the carrying of this entire run. And since he or she is customizable, we start off a save file after customization of the avatar named Robin. I'm going to refer to her as Robin and also her as her because the gender that we want to use is female because there are gender-locked classes, and there's a really broken class you want to access that's female-locked. And you can also pick a strength and a weakness for your avatar. And we're going to go with magic because we want to use magic throughout the run since magic is really powerful in this game. And we want a weakness of defense, which sounds really funny because it sounds like you want defense to not die. But defense is also one of 2 stats where that doesn't also hurt your offense. And the offensive benchmarks in the speedrun are so ridiculously high, despite the fact that it's on the easiest difficulty, that like even losing a 5% chance to get magic is just not worth it. Because like taking like a skill bane or a luck bane, which are the junk stats, hurts your offense by like 5%, and that's enough to make a huge statistical difference. As a result, the first 30 minutes of the speedrun is constantly resetting over and over until you don't die.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah,
Wow.
it's statistically better to just put up with dying over and over again for a better chance of getting the offensive benchmarks in early game, rather than trying to go the other way around. So, yeah. I'm not going to go into all the details. That's just too much numbers and stuff. But the main just thing you need to know about the Robin build we're using: female, magic-based, defense boon. I mean, defense weakness, I should say. So should we just get a timer, or should I just go ahead and start?
All right, you can go ahead and get started. We're using your splits there as the timer. There's no other timer here since you're going to be pausing and restarting.
Makes
so
sense.
Feel free to just take it away whenever you're ready, Kirby.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, so you can kind of see the splits right there, and this is kind of just a prologue. It's called Premonition, and basically a lot of chapters, there's 2 main objectives in this game: routes and defeat boss. Route is defeat every last one of them, kill every enemy in the map, and defeat boss is self-explanatory. In this case, this is just a tutorial level where you're kind of having a dream about this. So it's a really straightforward map, and you just kind of set the options to go as fast as possible. And then we get to the first actual map of the game, the actual prologue. So just some cutscenes. And then we'll get started here. This is the first map in the game. This is a route map, so we have to kill everyone. And the finger that we have over that little blue guy, his name is Crom. Let's see. This always takes a bit. This guy right here. He's Crom. He's the main character in the game. He is basically going to be a flunky. He's going to do almost no combat, as per Fire Emblem speedrun tradition. This, let's see. This right here is Frederick. He is what a lot of people consider the Jagan of the game. He's kind of a guy who's has a pretty good start and is in a higher tier class, but gains experience at a lower rate, and in many games cases has lower growth rates. Frederick has pretty good growth rates, as in better chances to get stats when you level up, but that's not relevant in the speedrun. All you need to know is that he's useful early on, and then he becomes a flunky. There's a girl with the staff on the left, we don't care about her, and we have this right here. This unit right here is Robin. She is the most important character in the game, and the most broken character in the game. I'm not going to go over all the details, but she has one really notable skill called Veteran, which this game has a mechanic where you can pair units up with each other, and Veteran lets you get 50% extra experience when you're paired up. Let that sink in. You get 50% extra experience when you're paired up. And wow. The Awakening's experience curve is very generous. So it is a casual meta to just pair Crom into Robin and just solo, like, once you get like 10 levels in Robin, she just snowballs the rest of the game. And there's actually a really funny video, I think, where it's like, can you beat the highest difficulty with Crom and Robin? And the entire comment section was like, yeah, because that's the easiest way to play the game. That's just how broken Robin is. And spoiler alert, we're going to do that in the speedrun. So, and also we're going to be doing auto battle a lot, because turns out having the AI move your units for you is way faster than moving the units yourself. There is a bit of luck involved, because there's a chance that the auto battle AI will move Robin to right here, and that just loses you a turn because the stalls right here block your way and you lose a turn. Nothing you can do about it. It's just a time loss. You just have to hope that doesn't happen. So, and we auto battle again. Let Robin kill something off screen, and we do it again. Let Robin kill something off screen, and we got our second level up coming up. And you can kind of see, look at Robin's HP. It's really low. Get used to that. So every stat has a chance to increase each time you level up. Robin has a 65% chance to get magic. That is the most important stat. We also really want speed. We absolutely need 1 out of 2 speed levels in the prologue, or else you're losing a massive amount of time. And you want as much defense as possible, because defense is good, which is really funny because we just gave her a defense bane, but we still want defense. The more defense you get, the less chance you have of dying. But even if you get perfect defense levels, you have a chance of dying in pretty much every chapter in the early game. That's just how Awakening is in the speedrun. So next map is a route chapter. And this is a really scary map because the strat is to throw Robin in the middle of everything and dodge them out and hope you don't die.
Just pray?
Yeah, you just pray. That's
really?
it. That's the strat.
Incredible.
Yep. So that's why we need +1 speed, because as a reminder, speed is a stat that allows you to double attack enemies. When Crom is paired into a Robin, he gives her, I think, +3 speed, +3 luck, I think, which is really important because we need to have at least 5 more speed than the target to double attack them. So if you got 0 speed levels in the prologue, you reset. And then otherwise, we just kind of throw Robin in the middle of everything and hope she kills everything, hope she doesn't die. Because, yeah, you just YOLO. Because anything else that's careful is just so slow, and since the speedrun is just so tight, every second really matters, and you have to pretty much take every risk you can get, kind of. So unfortunately, we didn't get the perfect clear. The perfect clear is a 2-turn, and we failed to kill the archer because I believe killing that archer requires 2 out of 2 speed levels, which we did not get, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. But you can kind of see Robin already gained 5 level ups when you're not really supposed to be this over leveled at this point. But yeah, that was that map. That map looked like it was really simple. It is really simple, but you also just can lose half your runs there because you will just die repeatedly. So the strat early game is basically just dodge them out and hope you don't die. That's just how Awakening early game is. So next chapter is another route map, so we have to kill every last one of them. And we also have a lot of extra units force deployed. We're not really going to be using most of them, but they're going to be helpful for cleaning up a few stragglers here and there. And spoiler alert, we can die very easily on this map too. You just have to dodge them out and pray. I believe, let me look at the benchmark for this again. Yeah, you need 11 magic, 10 speed to kill the boss in this map, which we're actually 1 speed short at the moment. That's, I think, 4 out of... I think that's like 3 out of 6 speed levels, I think. And like 5... The benchmarks are pretty high. I think you have to be like 1 above average to beat the benchmarks to kill everything here quickly. Which is very, very tight, if you can think about it that way, because even though this is a normal difficulty. And we're just gonna heal up and hope we don't die. We use an auto battle to have our flunkies kill off 1 random unit that got through. That's fine. And we just kind of move inch Robin forward. Hopefully she doesn't die and just keep healing her appropriately so she doesn't die. And that's a very good level up. But I think we get 1 more level up here. Typically. Yeah, like that's our only healing item for a bit, by the way. That doesn't cost time, so we just ran out of that. But thankfully we're going to get an elixir soon. And that's chapter 2. So,
how tight is the routing for things like that?
Well, funny you ask that, because next chapter is where we have to, let's see, manage our elixir uses, because we only get 3 for early game, and we also have to look at our offensive benchmarks. So, well, for now, we're activating a support between Robin and Crom, because we want them to have the baby. Yes, that's a thing. And some quick menuing. And then at the end of this chapter, we have to meet a really high offensive benchmark. We need, ideally, let's see if I can get to a screen where I can see Robin's stats. Wait for it. There we go. So you can kind of see Robin's stats in the lower screen. Ideally, you have 15 magic, 11 speed. We still get 1 more level up in this map, so we're actually 1 short on speed. If you don't hit 11 speed by the end of this map, you reset, because your run's over. That's, I think, 5 out of 10 speed levels, which is about average. So if you don't meet average on speed, your run's over. And we need 15 magic. That is 8 out of 10 magic levels with a 65 growth. I think the odds of that are less than 20%, something like that. Just let that sink in. You need 8 out of 10 magic levels by the end of this map. On normal difficulty, by the way. Why do we have these really high offensive benchmarks? Because we need to defeat Marth in the next chapter. And she's really fast, even though it's normal difficulty, easy difficulty. And thankfully, there's a little bit of a backup I found where like you can get by with 14 magic, which is 7 out of 10 magic levels, which is more manageable. But that's why I have to look at my magic stat here, because if you have 15 out of 10 magic, you can use fire on Lucina, and that's fine. You have 100 hit. But if you have 14 out of 10 magic, I have to conserve my Thunder Tomes, which you can kind of see in our inventory, because Thunder has +1 might over fire, meaning Thunder is enough to kill Lucina as well. But I have to conserve Thunder Tome uses, because usually I run out of Thunder in this map. And it's less accurate, so I have like a small chance of missing Lucina. And if you have 13 magic instead of 14, you can still get by, but I'll get to that next chapter. If you have 12 magic or less, you reset. And we just kill everything here. This is not a route chapter, by the way. This is a defeat boss map, and the boss is kind of at the top, but the fastest way to go there is just blitz Robin up there every turn. So we're just gonna keep moving Robin up over and over. And we also kind of need to keep an eye on our elixir uses because we only have 3 elixir uses for the next few maps. And if our defense is bad and or we didn't dodge them out enough, then we might just be dead. But usually this chapter is pretty straightforward. We got the speed we needed. If I didn't get speed here, this run wouldn't have happened. And we killed the boss.
Nice. You know, one thing that just did pop up in chat, it was a question of how does Kirby get a time this fast? And one thing that I learned visiting our good friend Keyzeron from TFS, as well as Emre, I learned that Kirby has an encyclopedic knowledge about every Fire Emblem game.
I do know a lot about most Fire Emblem games. There are a lot of people in the online fan base who know a lot more about these games than me. I will say that. But I'll definitely say I know a lot more about these games than your typical Fire Emblem player. But there are a lot of people in the online fan base that know me like 3 times as much. Like, they just know way more about the game than me. So I will say that.
But you still know a lot.
I do know a lot. I will say that. So this is the scary chapter. This is like the last map of the giant early game gauntlet because this is a route chapter and we have to take out Lucina. And again, as I mentioned, you need to meet really high benchmarks to kill her. You need 11 speed. That's non-negotiable. You reset if you don't have that. And you need 15 magic with fire, 14 magic with thunder. If you have 13 magic, you can equip Chrom and go for a dual strike. What is a dual strike? Well, when you're paired up with someone, your pair-up bot has a small chance to activate an extra hit. So you just gamble on that if you don't have the magic. If you don't have enough magic, which is bad because not only is it unreliable, but Chrom gets experience. Why is that bad? Level ups are slow. Level ups and anyone not named Robin lose you time because it's a speed run. So we do not want Chrom to get any experience, but you kind of have to if you don't meet the magic benchmark. In this speed run we did, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're just kind of blitz Robin in the middle, equip fire because we do have I think 16 magic in this run at this point, which is really good. And this is why killing Lucina in one round of combat is really important because animations are forced. If you don't one on her, you have to play more animations, and that's more time loss. And we got a fantastic level up out of that. If you don't kill her right here, then you have to use you have 2 options. You have to either attack her again, which is really bad because I can't heal myself, or you do what I'm about to do, which is just heal yourself, but Lucina, who's still alive, will run away and heal, and you just lose even more time. It's a lose-lose situation, basically, which is why killing her in one round of combat is so important. And like, this Robin is pretty solid, and she's still like almost constantly at 1/3 of her health. Just keep that in mind. And that should be the end of the map right there. So that is the last chapter of the early game gauntlet of really high offensive benchmarks we have to hit. It's not over. There's still a lot of luck left, but once you get past chapter 4, you're like, I usually breathe like a sigh of relief because it's like, okay, I can kind of take a step back and not worry about these getting really good offensive level ups. There's still a lot of really important stuff later on that can kill the run coming up, but for now I can kind of take a short breather. So chapter 5 is a route map, and we're going to go ahead and deselect everyone. And again, the guy named Frederick, who was, again, the guy who I mentioned at the prologue, who is kind of, is like a higher tier class. He's going to be putting in a lot of work because this is a route map, and the main weakness of Robin is there's only one of her. She can't be everywhere at once. So, and also there's this guy named Rickon who's not a very good unit, but he has an Elwyn tome, and with the Maribel pair up that allows him to one-shot Wyvern Riders in this map, so that's actually really convenient. So he's actually going to get like 1 or 2 kills in this map, off screen. You didn't see it happen because it happened behind a black screen, but Rickon was useful. Most useful mage in the speedrun. But it's pretty straightforward. We're just kind of moving Robin along, and I'm doing some auto battling and making sure that Frederick can get those 2 kills that you can kind of see, and then is also protecting Rickon because deaths do cost time. I don't really care about certain units dying, but deaths do cost time, so it's better to avoid a death if you can help it. And we need to end this map in the next turn, otherwise reinforcements will spawn and lose you 2 more turns, and that is a lot of time loss. And like, let me see, let me backtrack a little bit because I'm going too fast. That's a good problem to have. I'm going too fast. It's hard to commentate.
In a speed run? Are you
yeah,
sure
I know.
You want to
in a
go
speed
too
run.
Fast in a speed run?
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, so you see these weapons here. You kind of tell that the uses are kind of low in general because I have like 1 thunder use and like 18 fire uses. I always have to keep a constant eye on that because if I like have 1 fire use left and I move up to attack 2 wyverns, then I'm not going to kill them because if you double attack someone with a 1-use weapon, you're not going to double them because you only have 1 use, and then they'll be left alive and I lose time. So like I always have to constantly keep an eye on these weapon uses, and also weapon uses are really tight in a speedrun, so I have to find opportunities to try to squeeze out every use I can. Like that 1-use Thunder Tome, I'm going to try to use it in the next map, just so I can save 1 use of a different tome, because it's just that important to conserve Thunder Tome uses. Well, tome uses in general. Right. So, this chapter is done. Basically, there we go, everything's dead. Chapter 6 is coming up, and don't read the splits if you're a Gaius fan. Don't read the splits, spoiler alert. It's another route map, and we're also kind of supposed to defend Crom's sister, Emerin. I don't remember how to pronounce her name. Okay. This is important. Because I mentioned how there's a lot of run killers early on. Before chapter 7, that right there, that is random. Her name is Anna. You have 4 chapters worth of chances for her to spawn. She must spawn. If she doesn't, your run's over. She must spawn with an item called a second seal. If not, your run's over. She also must not spawn on an enemy encounter or else you cannot access her shop. So I don't know what the exact odds of runs dying to her are, but I've kept track, and empirically speaking, I lose about 3/4 of runs to her. So not only do I have to get 8 out of 10 magic levels and 5 out of 10 speed levels and get through Lucina and not die in the first 4 chapters of the run over and over and over again, all 3 out of 4 of those runs will all die to Anna. Welcome to Awakening speedruns. So this is the second to last opportunity I have, so I'm like, okay, sweet, she spawned, I got her. Sweet. So, and I'm like, okay, I can breathe another sigh of relief because Anna's no longer run killer. I got the second seal, and we're good to go. But yeah, like Anna is what makes Awakening speedruns really notorious because like she makes the entire speedrun a giant grind early on because you're like, okay, I got a good Robin going. Oh, Anna didn't spawn. Runs over. Time to reset. Cool. Or oh, Anna didn't spawn with the second seal. Runs over. Time to reset. But that's just how Awakening speedruns go. And there's still a lot of stuff that can go wrong, but that's like the big thing in the early game once you get past her. On normal difficulty, by the way. So this is a chapter where Frederick and this unit named Pan that we just got, she's kind of a beast woman, are going to be putting in work because this is a pretty big map and it's a route map. So like if you look at the mini map for it, if you look at the mini map like here, you kind of see there's a pretty big space we have to cover. Like there's a bunch of enemies like here, and our Robin's like right here, and she's gonna go clear out everything here. But we still need units to clear out the upper right area. So Frederick and Pan are gonna be moved into positions where I can have spam auto battle and have them clear out those units for me. Because again, the main weakness of Robin is that there's only one of her. And auto battle. Pretty straightforward map though. And we're going to hit level 20 because, again, reminder, when Robin's paired up, she gets plus 50% extra experience, which is funny.
Funny and incredible. Honestly.
It's incredible. Yeah, like you should not be at level 20 at this point, but she's at level 20. She is at level cap, by the way. And we got lucky here. We got a crit on the boss. We normally lose an extra turn to the boss because like you normally just can't kill him, but we got a lucky crit, so that saved us time. That's really nice. And then, if you haven't seen Anna yet, this is the last chance for Anna to spawn. If she doesn't, you reset. Because why is the second seal important? For those not familiar with the game, the second seal is an item that allows you to reclass into a different class. And our Robin is in the tactician classes. Is in the tactician class. And she's also level capped to level 20. So I'm going to use the second seal to promote her, reclass her back into a Pegasus Knight, which resets her level to level 1. And the Pegasus Knight class is also gender locked, so only female units can access it in this game, which is why female Robin is so important, because male Robin would just... He can't do this, unfortunately.
Male Robin's with Batman, right? Male Robin is with Batman, right?
Yeah. One thing to note is, one last thing, we cannot use magic in this class. So that's kind of awkward, The Pegasus Knight class can only use lances, so we're equipping a bronze lance right now. And this is where we have to keep an eye on Robin's strength stat, even though we've been using a magic Robin, because Robin can't use magic in this class anymore. I'm bending too fast. There we go. So if you don't hit 14 strength, your run's over. So that's another benchmark you have to keep an eye on. It's uncommon for that to happen, but it can happen. So even if you get the second seal, if you don't hit 14 in strength by this point, your run's over in your reset.
I feel like every single split right now, you said, this happens or the run's over.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. That's the first third of Awakening speedruns. But like, once you get past this chapter, things that are relatively smooth sailing. So, like, I feel like I've said that 5 times, but this is actually where, like, I kind of can breathe a sigh of relief and be like, okay.
They ramp up now. Like, this is where you start having fun.
Play the game.
Okay.
Yeah, I can actually play more than the first 4 minutes of the game. Sweet.
That's great.
So yeah, this is a really big route map. Well, kind of. And we have to just make sure we kill every last one of them. But there are some archers, and archers have extra might, do effective damage against us. I'm not going to get into math, but basically archers hurt while we fly, and that's bad. So we want to dodge them. Your run's not over if you get hit by one. Like, for example, let's step back really quickly. Like, there's an archer. If I get hit too much in this turn, I can have this cleric right here run up to me and heal me if I'm like low on HP, and that's convenient. It loses time, but it's better than dying, so. That's why you see me specifically picking off archers, and my options are just kind of limited because I don't have any lance rank. The only lance I can use is the bronze lance, and the bronze lance is a 1 range weapon, as opposed to magic, which is 1 to 2 range. Magic lets me counterattack all archers, but I can't counterattack any ranged enemies with the bronze lance, which is inconvenient, but there's nothing I can do about it. You might be wondering, well, why are you going to Pegasus Knight if you really want the 1 to 2 range magic? Well, we'll get to that later. But for now, it's worth it. So that's why you see me manually picking off these archers, because I can't counterattack them. And that fighter nearby also has a 2 range weapon, so I can't counterattack him. But I'm meticulously putting Robin into positions to aggro exactly enough enemies that I can reliably survive, while still killing them in enemy phase. And I have to end the chapter on this turn, otherwise reinforcements spawn to the left side of the map and your run's over. That rarely happens. It's not, as long as you play this correctly, it's not really an issue. All right, so that's chapter 7. Chapter 8 introduces a desert, and there are a few desert maps in this game, and by Fire Emblem tradition, deserts are annoying because if you aren't a magic using class or a flyer, you have no mobility. And the tactician class that we started in is not considered like a magic class, because it's kind of considered a mixed class. Thankfully, we fly, so we don't care. So we can just fly around all over the place and kill everything. And this unit right here, her name is Cordelia. She's convenient because she's actually going to kill, let's see, this guy right here for us. And that's her role in the speedrun. Good job, Cordelia. And meanwhile, Robin can now use the Javelin, which I menued that too quickly, but if you look at her inventory screen right here, the Javelin's really weak, but it's a 1 to 2 range lance. And we can use it now because we grinded up enough lance rank from the previous map with the bronze lance. So now we can actually counterattack everything in the game, basically, which is important because killing everything on enemy phase is fast. And last unit to introduce, her name is Naui, and paired with her is Gregor. They're both pretty useful units. They're kind of force deployed in this map, and they're going to get like 1 or 2 kills. That's about it. Otherwise, I kind of want to keep them out of combat as much as possible because experience is slow. So, moving Robin into this position, moving Naui to be in range of that mage and the sword fighter. Again, Naui's really convenient because she has a Dragonstone, which is 1 to 2 range, again, meaning she can counterattack basically everything. But she's also not very fast, as you can tell by the fact that those enemies just lived on low HP. And something interesting I'm doing here is I am unpairing these units here. Why? This sword fighter cannot go around and reach Naui because that's all desert. He can only attack Gregor. And that's important because if Naui gets both of these kills, she levels up. Why is that bad? Level ups are slow. We want to give kills to Gregor instead because we want to avoid level ups. This is a speed run. We want to be as inefficient as possible with our experience because in speedrunning, experience on flunkies is slow. So that's a Master Seal. That's a very important item because, as you can tell by the game that just said, class change, it allows you to promote into a second tier class. Whereas the second tier allowed you to reclass into a different class of the same tier, the master class lets you advance a tier. And the experience management is really tight. I'm actually delaying this promotion because there's a very tight experience benchmark later on where I want to not get too much experience, but not get too little experience either. And I'll get to that when we get to that in like chapter 13, 14. But for now, there's a reason why I'm like putting off this promotion until right now instead of like promoting earlier. And I'm going to promote her into a Dark Flyer, which is the most broken class in the game. Why? It's an 8-move flying class that uses magic. So, and our Robin is incredibly overleveled. Look at those really giant ball of stats, and now she just kills everything with magic. All right, everything's dead. Cool. If you are a Tharja fan, don't look at splits, by the way. So this next map, spoiler alert, is kind of the climax of the early arc where you have to kind of save Crom's sister from the main bad guy of the first arc. This is a route map. We have to kill everyone in the map. Oh god, I menued that way too quickly. Speedrunning problems.
That's not a problem when you're a speedrunner.
True. All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay, I paused on the correct frame. I feel like if I pause and unpause, I just menu this so quickly that it'll just disappear.
I'm
taking off a skill called Relief for 2 reasons. Well, but what does Relief do? It's you heal. I don't remember the details, but you heal if you don't have any allies around you. That's bad because that costs time. And we also want to empty our skill slots because, spoiler alert, we're gonna have our daughter named Lucina, and Lucina inherits the last skill listed in Robin's skill list. And we wanted to make sure that she inherits the correct skill. So we're removing Relief for that. Oh my god, I menued way too quickly there. So I'll get to watch the menu again, I guess, because this is a big route map. And this can be a little bit scary because there are 2 bow users on this map. And we pair Frederick into Robin because Frederick gives her a really nice defensive buff, which we're going to need. Again, this is Cordelia right here. She's going to kill this guy right here, and that's her role for the rest of the run. She gets 2 kills. Good job, Cordelia. And yeah, you can kind of see a bow user there, and if you get hit by everything, you die. It's unlikely, but it can happen. And a safety strat you can do is you can increase the support between Frederick and Robin, which gives her 10 avoid, which is a pretty big deal, but it doesn't help anywhere else, so you kind of just lose time if you do it. So, and since I'm trying to go for record, I skipped that safety. Oh, by the way, Tharja died, but she gave us an Elf Undertone. Thank you. And one last thing to note in this map is, let's see. Let's see if I can get onto a spot where I can see the mini-map. Yeah, if you look at the mini-map here, there's normally like 3 enemies here, but there's a green unit named Libra. He kind of just kills all of them. That's a little bit of luck involved because there's a chance he doesn't kill all of them by turn 3, which in that case, you just hope he kills them on turn 4. But usually he kills everything there. But I'm like constantly keeping an eye on the minimap to make sure like he does his job and wiping everything out. And he did. There's no more red units in the bottom left area. So I'm like, yes, Libra did his job. Good job. And we auto battle, kill everything. And map done. Crom's sister dies, spoiler alert. And now we're trying to flee. So this is a defeat boss map, and the boss is in the far upper left corner of the map. And this is a kind of the song is really good, too bad we barely hear it. And this is also kind of a nice map to just kind of grind Robin a bit more. And we just got a few stat boosters, like we just got a Draco Shield, which we're about to use, which increases your defense permanently by +2. Very useful. We're also about to get a Seraph Robe, which increases your HP by 5 permanently. Very useful. Because we want as much bulk as possible, because not dying is good. And we just kind of vibe to the boss and bop them. Pretty straightforward.
Now that we're rounding, the halfway point roughly in the run, like what was going through your mind as things were going through. You made it past, a lot of the RNG near the beginning. Like, what was going through your head here when you were like doing pretty well in the run here?
I don't remember, but chances are it's probably something like, Robin, please get magic skill speed. Because we still need a lot of magic. It's just not immediately important, but in the long run, we need as much magic as possible.
Oh, I see.
And also, like, we need skill and speed to dodge as much as possible. And because there are a few chapters late game where your strat is dodge long and pray you don't die. And skill is important because skill gives you hit and crit. Hit is good because missing means you lose a run. And crit is good because we need to land a really important crit on the last boss. All right, so for those not familiar with the game, this is the last chapter where you can kind of decide who Chrom marries, because Chrom has like a forced marriage, and this is one of those games that's notorious. Well, not notorious. One of those games where it's kind of focused on being able to pair your units and make children, basically. And this is the last. Chrom's is forced. He will automatically marry whoever has a higher support with him. There are a few exceptions, but basically we have a C support with Chrom. He doesn't have any supports with any other woman, so he's automatically going to marry Robin. And that's important. Sweet. And that unit we just moved, her name's Olivia. Her right there. She is a dancer. Dancers in Fire Emblem are really important because they allow a unit to move again. And we're going to take advantage of this and yeet Robin to basically the center of the map on turn 1. Great. And I'll let this map speak for itself, because it's a route map. Whee! All right, lots of enemies. There's a giant ball of enemies down there. What's gonna happen? Oh, here's a boss. Oh, he's dead.
Wow.
Oh, nice. We got almost an entire level out of that, even though we're like massively over-leveled. Oh, everything's dead. Cool. Oh, there's a batch of enemies on the left side we have to kill. Let's just yeet Robin over there. Oh, they're all dead. Okay, cool. So that thief, we can't kill an enemy phase because he's passive. He just rushes for the treasure, so we have to use a turn to kill him. But, yep. Welcome to the speedrun once Robin's started snowballing into a broken unit. So, there is no longer a giant ball of enemies, yes. And story-wise, this is where Chrom's like, okay, we just had a baby named Lucina, hooray. Yay, she's beautiful. We're not going to have access to children units yet. We will in like a few chapters. But this is kind of starts the second arc of the game, and we're going to be using a nice unit. We just got a unit named Shirsh. She's her right there. And yeah, that's her. She's really nice because she's another flyer, and flyer is good because mobility good. She's actually kind of slow by this game standards. Like, she has trouble double attacking a lot of stuff, but who cares? Her job is to use the hammer, which is effective on armor units, and kill 4 enemies. She's going to kill 2 on this map. Good job, Church. So those 2 up there, she's going to kill. Meanwhile, Robin just kind of kills everything else. So that ball of enemies on the left, they die. And again, we still need to keep an eye on Robin's level ups, because the benchmark we really want to hit is, I think it's 37 magic. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's like either 37 or 38 magic we really want to hit. We're very magic blessed, by the way. We're already at 40. And cap is 46, I think. So, like, our magic is fantastic, which is very important. We also need to keep an eye on our tome uses again, because tome uses are tight. Because problem is Robin kills too much. She just burns through all her tomes. So, another level up. And I'm going to move her to the upper right corner and equip the L Thunder, because that's just enough uses to wipe out the rest of the map and have a few for the map afterwards. And so she's a snowball so hard that like she just dodges everything. And like even if you fail to dodge, she's paired up with a unit that has a chance to block an attack for her, called a dual guard. So like even on the small chance you get hit by something, you have a small chance to block it in the first place. So she's broken. She's snowballed. And the map's over, I think. Yep, map's over. There is a small chance that a random armor knight will like be a straggler. Oh no, never mind. I lied. Yeah, there's the armor knight right there. So that's time loss. Nothing you can do about it, but it's not a big deal. Just due to how the AI moves the enemy units around, sometimes an armor knight can get blocked off and will just not die. So sometimes you just have to burn a turn for him. Nothing you can do about it. All right. So this chapter is a very important chapter because by the end of this chapter is when you get Lucina, and her inheritance is important. Because Lucina will always inherit Ether from Chrom, no matter what, even if Chrom hasn't learned it. And she will, from her mom, who is Robin in this case, she will always inherit the last skill that Robin has. Robin is suspiciously at level 14. She's about to hit level 15, which is the benchmark to learn Gale Force. The casual meta is to teach Gale Force to as many children as possible. What does Gale Force do? I won't explain that yet. I'll just say it's broken. In the speedrun, we don't want Gale Force on her. Gale Force on Lucina is really bad. You need her to inherit Rally Movement, which is what we learned at level 5. So you can kind of see Rally Movement, this skill right here. We need to not learn Gale Force. We must not learn Gale Force, or else he runs over. But we also have to learn Gale Force by the end of the next map. So we cannot have too much experience, or else we learn Gale Force too early and he runs over. We need to not have too little experience, or else we won't learn Gale Force when you need it and it runs over. Thankfully, this is really consistent. I never have to worry about this, because as long as Robin's competent and you promote her at the correct time, you're fine, which is why the timing of her promotion back at that desert map forever ago is really important. Because at that point, Robin just kills everything, so there's almost no variance with the experience. But for those, as an FYI, if you want to be safe and are running this game, you want to look at this. If Robin has 50 experience or higher, you need to do a backup strat and take off. Make sure that she does not learn Gale Force. You need to give her the relief skill back so it takes up a slot, and then reorder Rally Movement to the bottom. But that's really slow, so you don't want to do that. But that should also never happen if you follow the route correctly. But yeah, that's the benchmark. Just make sure you don't hit 50 experience at the start of this map, and you're good. Meanwhile, this is a defeat boss map, so we just blitz Robin to the top and kill the boss. Level 14, 79 experience. And we got Lucina with Rally Movement. So what does Rally Movement do? It's, when you use it, you let nearby units get +1 movements. That's very useful, because why is it useful? Because it's faster than dancing, because dancing is slow. So if we can use a Rally Movement to get Robin to the destination instead of a dance, then that's faster. Or we can alternatively use Rally Movement and a dance to get basically +2 movement, because you're moving twice with +1 move. And yeah, here we go, Rally Movement hype. You're about to see it put into action right here. Frederick Pair-Up gives Robin +1 move. Rally Movement gives +1 move. Good job, Lucina. And we can just eat the boss just like that. Goodbye. And we learn Gale Force here. We ideally learn it next map, but that pretty much never happens because the experience is really consistent. So we pretty much always learn it here. You kind of don't want to technically because you waste time with the animation, but whatever. And then the next map is a route map. And this is where Gale Force comes in handy, and we'll start breaking the game a lot. If you thought Robin was already broken, Gale Force is kind of broken. So this is a pretty big involved map because it's a giant route map, and we have to kill every last one of them. And you can kind of see me doing some tome management here because we just got some free tomes. We grabbed a fresh L-Fire and a fresh L-Wind, and we're going to need every use of that. And you see the minimap? This minimap here? Lots of enemies. Lots and lots of enemies. And the problem with Robin, there was only one of her. And there's also, let's see if I can target this. There's 2 Armor Knights right here attacking a green unit. They do not attack us, so you have to use up player face to kill them. And we don't want to have Robin up there because we want her killing everything else. So that's why Shursh, the Wyvern Rider, is going to be handy again because she can bonk them with a hammer. Thank you, Shursh. So, what does Gale Force do? I never talked about that. When you kill an enemy, you move again. And move again. You can only do it once per turn, but that's still broken enough to break the game. So we just have Robin pick off like an enemy unit out of the way and then yeet her into a spot where she can access as many enemies as possible and delete them all in enemy phase. So, do it again. Kill that Cavalier. Gale Force, kill the Cavalier from the wall. And those 2 Cavaliers are important because they can't reach us from that spot, so we need to make sure we pick them off on player face and take advantage of Gale Force. Now everything here is dead. We use Auto Battle to have Shush pick off the 2 Armor Knights bothering Sairi. Good job, Shush. And you see this ball of enemies, so you can kind of take a wild guess on what's about to happen. Oh, it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. And the best part is, when you auto battle, like what I just did, auto battle does take advantage of Gale Force. So the auto battle AI is going to kill the boss and then move me again into the group of enemies at the bottom, because there's like 5 stragglers on the desert at the southern tip of the map. So convenient. So you'll see, there we go. The AI just kind of yeeted us into the desert. There's some randomness involved here, but not much you can do about it. You just have to hope the AI with your auto battle cooperates. And everything's deleted. Cool. So this next map is notorious among a lot of casual players for understandable reasons, because when you're playing on harder, higher difficulties, you get what we call ambush spawns. And this map is notorious for having these ambush spawns are enemy units that spawn at the start of the turn, and they can move immediately. And in some cases, the game doesn't really give you a good warning for that, which is annoying. And this map is very notorious for that because it spawns flyers on the left and right side of the map. So this map is very notorious among a lot of casuals. This is what the speedrun does. Oh, have a dance. Gale Force. And map over. So there's the notorious melee tree done. Thank you very much. All right. So this chapter is a little scary because we have a really long path we have to take to get to the boss. This is a defeat boss map. And this boss is very bulky magically, so it's really hard to kill her. And her name's Pharos. And this is where we need to kind of hit a really pretty high magic benchmark. Let's look at my notes. So you need at minimum 37 magic to kill her with Arc Thunder. Arc Thunder is very inaccurate. And usually with average skill, you'll have around 70% hit, which this game lies to you about hit rates. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but basically 70% hit translates to 85 hit in this game. So you have to land 2 85 hits in a row. If you miss either of them, your run's over. If we have 42 magic, we can use the much more accurate L-Fire because it's a lot weaker than Arc Thunder, but a higher magic stat compensates for that. And instead of trying to land a double 70 displayed, which is a double 85 actual hit, we have to land a double 85 displayed, which translates to a double 95. And again, there's still a chance to miss, but it's landing 2 Pokemon tackles in a row is much more reliable than landing 2 Hydro Pumps in a row, if you want a comparison for that. So, and thankfully, we already have capped magic because this Robin is really magic blessed. So we don't have to worry about that. We can just use L-Fire and not worry about accuracy much. And this is also why skill is just kind of important because, again, missing kills a run. All right, kill this hero. We just hit level 20, so that's our that's level cap already by the 2/3 point in the game. We're gonna do a drop with Robin to put her in range of the boss. So the boss attacks us in enemy phase. And again, if you miss, Frederick dies, run over. So here's me just kind of praying I don't miss. And of course, this is the world record, I don't miss. So good job, Robin. But yeah, that's probably like the scariest mid-game map just because of those hit rates. Like if you don't have enough magic, your run's over. But like, I've never seen it happen. Like she has pretty much always had at least 37 magic. But you really want 42 magic because you really want the better hit rates. So this is chapter 18. It's a defeat boss map with a cool little gimmick where the land kind of melts into lava. We don't care about that because I think this map will be kind of self-explanatory. Whee! Have a dance. Goodbye. Gale Force. Oh, hi there, boss. You can kind of see a bit of a menu flub there that lost me like a second, but oh well. And map over. Yeah, you actually don't want strength anymore because each level up of strength we get past 14 is a time loss because it's useless. technically every stat level up we get is technically a time loss, but like every stat not named strength is helpful, so I'm not gonna complain. Richard, if you're still here, have you been? Do you like Walmart?
I absolutely love Walmart. Maybe
great, because we're about to break into Walmart on this map in one turn. Because his boss's name is Walhart, and I call him Walmart because it's funny.
Let's go. Let's see what deals there are, or whatever.
All right, hello Walmart. All right, goodbye. All right, so story-wise, we're kind of invading the main antagonist of the mid-game arc, Walmart, and we just defeated him and then broke into his castle, and we had to defeat him again in the castle. So this is the first of like roughly 3 mid to late game maps that's really scary. Because like you can die on this map very realistically. Even if you have a perfect Robin, it is very realistic for her to die. It's uncommon, but it can happen. So right here, in my mind, I'm just like, we're defeating like a random boss here that's not required, but he hits you like a truck. So I'm just like praying we dodge. We did dodge, so we're good. We've got a Draco Shield, which we will need, and we're gonna Gale Force up. Unfortunately, we don't have enough movement tools to get to the boss instantly quickly. So yeah, you see there's a lot of enemies, including a sniper, and another sniper, and another magic user, and yeah, if those snipers hit you, you take like 30 damage.
Wow.
They hurt. They have like around 20 to 30 displayed hit, which translates to around 10 to 20% chance of hitting, which is low, but that's not 0%. If you're familiar with probability, if it's not 0%, it's not 0%. It has a chance to hit, and I have lost runs to this. So very scary, and I'm just like, please don't hit, please don't hit, please don't hit. Ah! I'm like at 1/3 health. Ah! But like, if I survive this turn, then we're good. So like, because I can elixir, there's no more bow users, and we're good to go. And the boss moves to us, thankfully, so we can just bonk him on enemy face and save time. And that's kind of the end of the mid-game arc of the game, story-wise. Now we're about to kind of approach the last like quarter of the run, and kind of face Valadar and Grima, main baddies, the actual bad guys behind all the scenes, because there's always a bad guy like that. And this is another defeat boss map.
I have a sneaking suspicion I know what your strategy is for this map, perhaps, according to these splits. Do you use Gale Force, perhaps, maybe 4 or 6 times or something like that?
Well, unfortunately, only 2 times.
Oh.
Only 2 times. All right, we just skipped half the map right there. This map can be a little scary because, well, let me backtrack a little bit. Yeah, a little bit further back. Right there. So that unit, that's Sairi, and she is protecting Chrom. And there's no way to keep like anyone not named Robin like completely out of her enemy range. And if she gets hit by, let's see, if I can, this guy right here. If she gets hit by that guy twice, he runs over because she dies, Chrom's exposed, and Chrom will die. He has like roughly 20 displayed hit on her, I think, and it's like a 5 to 10% chance to hit roughly. So you have to get hit by like a double 10. It has happened, of course. And you can heal her if you want to, and you're perfectly safe. But you can't check what her HP is during this map without losing time. So like, I don't do that because it's a time loss to check her HP. But if you want to be safe, you can check her HP after this turn and be like, okay, did she take a hit? If so, heal, and we're good. But again, that costs a lot of time in this kind of speedrun, so. And we also need to keep an eye on our HP because if the AI in Awakening and Fates are actually really smart, so like if we're at really low on HP, you need to make sure you heal, because if you're in low weight, so like normally the boss moves up to us and attacks us, which is good because this is a defeat boss map that ends the map. If you're low on HP, the Awakening AI is smart enough to make, let's see, this assassin who has a bow and this assassin who also has a bow, they will move first and try to kill you with bows, because the AI Awakening is actually surprisingly really smart, unlike a lot of other Fire Emblem games. So like, you need to make sure you heal if you're low on HP. Otherwise, they will try to kill you, and you'll just die probably because they're pretty accurate. But we're at full HP, so they're not going to move first. Like, if the Awakening AI sees a kill, they will like prioritize going for that kill immediately. So, of course, this is their record run, so that went smoothly. And chapter 22. So, this is an interesting map. So, right here, I'm making a big decision. Because the final boss requires getting a really low % chance of getting a crit. But if I have capped magic, I have the option to grab Valflame in the map coming up. Valflame is a very powerful tome that gives you +5 magic. And it's I'm not going to go into all the statistic odds of what I do versus getting Valflame, but I'll just say that I choose not to get Valflame, but it is an option you can go for. So, because there's a unit like all the way off screen to the right side where you can waste a turn to kill her and grab the Valflame tome because it's very powerful. But we're not. I decided to opt to not go for it, and I'm just gonna bop the boss and map done. And I made an armory visit because I ran out of tomes. I routed in grabbing 2 Arc Thunder tomes because we need tomes. So, all right. So this is the same map as the premonition map at the very start of the run, except actually happening. So we have to kill Valadar, who is in the very middle of the map. You can't see him because he's off screen, but we're just gonna auto out at once, and then we're gonna bonk him at 2 range here. And he's like, ha ha ha, this is all just as planned. And Robin, in the plot, Robin's like, oh no, we saw through your plan. We foresaw all the stuff that you were planning in the future. We planned like all this junk behind your back. And then, I'm not gonna get into the details of the story, but basically the objective changes and we have to kill every last one of them. Turns into a route map. So this is the other map that's really scary because like even if your Robin is really blessed, you will still die to bow users pretty easily. So you just have to hope you dodge. Oh yeah, we got 2 new units, Basilio and Flavia. They're surprisingly good. Like they actually get better in the higher difficulties. Like their stats are like +5 in Lunatic compared to normal, which is hilarious, but they're flunkies. We're not using them in the speedrun. They used to be used in chapter 24, which is coming up, but I routed them out because they cost time. So yeah. This is a very scary group of enemies because the guy I'm about to kill, this right here, he is an assassin with a killer bow, which is a high crit bow, and we don't like bows. So he needs to go. This guy has a silver bow. This guy has a silver bow. If they both hit, you die. Or if one of them hits you and then like everything else hits you, you die. You just have to dodge them out and pray you don't die. So here's me just like crossing my fingers and being like, please don't kill me, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. And we dodged, so we're good. We still have one more group of enemies to kill because it's a route map. We pick off the hero and then Gale Force because that hero is out of the way. And then we just finish off the rest of the enemies on the right side. All right. We have 3 more maps left. A route map, a defeat boss map, and a defeat boss map. And the final boss... actually, no, yeah, I'll wait one more chapter until I explain the final boss. But there's a lot that goes into the final boss.
Yeah, before you get into that, I want to just point out that half of your splits have the word Gale Force in them, which is just incredible. Let me just say.
Yeah,
I love it.
I wonder if I'm going to use Gale Force. This is a really interesting map. So, like, this is a route map again, so we have to kill everything here, and this is a pretty big map with a lot of enemies spread out. The previous record holder, Yukiya, used to use Flavia, the unit we just got, to kind of kill off a few units in the northern side, but that costs time because you have to move an extra unit, and you get a level up on a flunky. Level ups are bad. I found a way to get the same turn count without using them. So this is kind of a cool new strat that I came up with. It saves like a chunk of time over the previous record, where I use only Robin because, again, you want to low man as much as possible. So basically, I'm just trying to kill off units that are really out of the way and then move Robin in that range of as many units as possible. So we're kind of wiping out a lot of enemies in the bottom tip. This also can be a scary map because, again, there are bow users, and the strat is to dodge Lamau and pray you don't die. Not as scary as the last map, but it can be scary. And we move her in here. And we also just picked up a Thoron Tome, which is the most powerful Thunder Tome in the game, and it has very high crit, and that's really important. Why is that important? Because everything I'm about to do is all about the final boss. So, and this is where the high magic stat and skill stat are really important, because I need to like keep track of my magic, and I have like a giant table of like benchmarks I need to keep track of. So forging is a mechanic in this game where you can alter the stats of the weapon. You can alter the might, you can alter the crit, you can alter the crit. Great. I'm not going to get into all the details, but basically, the ideal way to kill the final boss is to go for a double 40% crit. If you miss either crit, your run's over. So that's a 16% chance to run to finish. If you miss it, your run's over. That's the ideal way to go for it. There's two other methods that I found that gives you options. One is to go for a 1 in 3 chance of a crit. So I go for, you have 3 chances to get a 30% crit, and if you get one of them, you're good to go. But you still have a chance to get a double crit, which is as fast as the strat I just mentioned. But if you fail that, but still get a 1 in 3 crit, you lose only 5 seconds. Which is much better than just losing the entire run. And that's a roughly 60% chance, so about 1 in 3 runs will die with the strat by endgame. By the way, remember all the stuff I mentioned at early game with all the early game benchmarks, needing 8 out of 10 magic, needing Anna, needing to not die in 3 maps, you need to hit the chapter 17 boss. Yeah, a lot of runs will die to the last boss.
If you like rolling dice, I hear this game is for you.
Yeah, if you like rolling dice, this game is for you. By the way, this is all normal difficulty. So, yeah. Just imagine, like, the older strat, you have a 16% chance to win the run, but 5 and 6 runs on average will die to the last boss on normal difficulty. 5 and 6 runs, after all the BS you had to go through early game. But anyways, the last option I mentioned is Valflame. Valflame is really powerful and also has high crit rate. And if you have capped magic, you can go for 1 in 2 crits with a 15% chance to crit. And that is actually more reliable than going for a double 40%, because I think it's like the chance of getting 1 in 2 15% crits is like roughly 30 to 40%, whereas the chance of getting a double 40% crit is roughly a 16% chance. So like, Valflame actually has its uses if you wanted to go for that. I opted to go for the 1 in 3 crit chance, because I still have the chance to get the fastest strat, but failing that, I have a pretty high chance of finishing the run in the first place. So, all that said, I'm forging the Thoron Tome, giving it as much crit as possible. And then I also, if my match was slightly low, I would need to force some extra might on it as well. So like if I had like, let's see, look at my chart. Yeah, if I had 44 magic, I need to forge 15 might. If I have 43 magic, I have to forge 16 might and so on. Which is bad if your might is really low, because you can only forge up to 8 modifications. So if you have to add like 5 might to your Thoron Tome, you only have room to forge plus 9 crit instead of plus 15 crit, because you can't modify it anymore. But this is the second to last map, and I'm gonna go ahead. You can kind of guess what the drill is.
It's not a drill, it's a gale.
It's a gale fort, yeah. Boss done. All right, cool. Chapter over. All right, so the last map in the game. So Grima is the final boss, and Grima is a giant pain in the butt. Grima is on, I think it's like a +3 defense, +3 res throne, I think. So she in this case, just because she's basically Robin, evil Robin. She's just bulkier. She also has an ability called Dragon Skin, which she literally takes half damage from everything. And she has 80 HP, and animations are forced. So if you ever have to attack her more than once, you're losing time. So all the setup I did was just for this, and the strat I'm going for is a 1 in 3 chance to crit. So I'll let it just play out first, and then I'll step through what's going on, because it's fun to see speedy things going on. And we just left Crom behind, but he's actually safe. Don't worry about it. So we go for the Thoron crit. Here I'm just like, please crit, please double crit. We have, what is it, 20%? Can't read that from here. 29%. So if I get a double 29% crit, I save a lot of time. I did not get a crit. I have 2 more chances. I got 1 crit here. That's good. And if you look at the math, I'm doing exactly 14 damage. A crit does 16 damage. Yeah, and then now if you look at the numbers, I do exactly enough damage to finish her off guaranteed without needing a crit here for the 3rd hit. So that's the end game for Awakening. To step through all of what just happened, there's a lot that goes on here because it's actually pretty complicated. So you also have a lot of different options because when you have Chrom, if you have Chrom, we have a free S support with him because we married him. So if Chrom is next to Robin, he actually gives her plus 10 crit. But with the strat that I'm doing, I can't actually bring him up to Robin because I need to bring Olivia, our dancer, along. And I also need to bring this guy here named Henry, and he's really important. So what I'm doing, I'm pairing Olivia into Frederick and bringing her along. I'm pairing Henry into Robin, and you can kind of see the really nice stat buffs he's giving us. +4 magic, +1 skill. That's huge, because Grima is really tanky. So +4 magic. That's the big thing. And we're going to eat them up. And now we're attacking Grima. If you look at her combat parameter, she has 80 HP. 80 divided by 5 is exactly 16, which is why the Henry pair up and the might modifications for our Thoron Toma are really tight, because you need to do exactly 16 damage in order to do 1 in 3 crit. Because if you hit twice and crit once, that's times 5 damage. So 16 is exactly enough. The reason why Henry is important, outside of the +4 magic buff, is that he has 2 really useful skills, Anathema and Hex. And they basically nerf enemies that are nearby. So, and his nerfs also apply even though he's a pair-up bot. So he doesn't need to be in the main unit in the front. He can just be a backpack, and that works. So he's paired up to Robin, so he's actually nerfing Grima right now. And the total amount of nerfs is he's nerfing Grima by... he's making Grima lose 25 avoid and lose 10 crit avoid. In other words, we're basically getting +25 hit, +10 crit, thanks to Henry. And that's a really big deal, because without Henry, we'd probably have like 90 hits and like 19 crit instead of 29. And here I'm just kind of hoping that we get a double crit. If we do, then GG. But if, as you saw, we didn't. We only got 1 crit, which is fine.
What do you need?
Boom. And now I'm just like hoping I don't get any more crits, because crit animations cost time. So I don't want 2 and 3 crits. I want exactly 1 and 3 crit. And now I'm bringing Frederick, switching to Olivia, dancing for Robin so she can move again, and then finishing off Grima.
This ain't so bad.
And that's run done. The time ends when we confirm whether we give Chrom the final blow or not for story purposes. And time. There we go. 32:44. The previous record before this was a 32:55, and this was a pretty big benchmark because the previous record did get the double 40% crit on the last boss, and it was a very good run.
Wow. Nice.
So I'm actually very proud to have beaten that. Fun fact, I did beat the record on the airplane. But
really?
I wasn't recording. I think it was like a 32:50 or something like that. So I beat the world record on the plane back to where I lived.
No vid, no did. Right?
No vid, no did. Nope. So it was not legit. But I was like, well, I can do it again. So, and I did it again after like 2 weeks of grinding this. So there you go. That's Awakening, Fire Emblem Awakening normal mode done in 32:44. Very fun speedrun. There are safety strats that you can do to but they do cost a lot of time to do, like getting extra tonics to buff your magic or avoid and stuff if you don't hit benchmarks and stuff. But there is still a lot of luck involved with the speedrun, even if you are doing safety strats, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it is. So,
I mean, sometimes, you want a run that's not super execution heavy. Maybe you just want something to chill with, and maybe you don't care, if you had to reset to RNG a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So, if this
Chilling's
interests you in any way, chat, feel free to check it out. But I do.
Discord.
Yeah, I do want to let you know that you should check out Kirby Master. You stream all the time, and you're in like every chat all the time. somehow. And, be
don't
sure
ask.
to follow twitch.tv/KirbyMasta, everyone. It's right underneath his webcam there. That's how you get the spelling Kirby, Mastah, if you want to follow him. But do you have any shout outs specifically for this game or community before we get into your next PB?
I'll just give a shout out to Yukiya, who was the previous record holder. Yukiya was the runner who introduced a lot of the interesting strats with like getting Lucina rally movements, and like his run. This run wouldn't have happened without his work. And like I made a lot of modifications on top of his route, and that's partially why I beat it. But that's also just speedrunning in a nutshell. There's just going to be improvements. But this run would not have happened without his run, and his run was very good. And if I start naming other names, I'm just going to forget people, so I won't. But shout-outs to the final speedrunning community. You know who you are. And shout-outs to all the other people who motivated me for this too. Even if you're not part of the Speedrun Discord, that's okay. And we do have a Speedrun Discord. If you are interested in running Awakening, they do allow emulator. And I'm also around to help out if people need help. I'm trying to get the guide updated with all the changes I've made too. Will take time, but that's just how it goes. And without further ado, do we want to take a short break or dive in?
So, before we get that, I just want to tell everyone the speedrun.com page is speedrun.com/fire_emblem_awakening. And there you can find details about this run, and you can even go to the series page from there if you want to learn about other Fire Emblem games. So be sure to do that, chat. But I want to remind everyone that we take these breaks so that we can get up, stretch, stay hydrated, and make sure that we can prepare for the next run, which is going to be another PB. Kirby, you seem to PB in a lot of games you've been on before, and you have 2 PBs that you're showing today. We're going to be having a little bit of a Sonic finishing to the night here, because we actually have you and a Supersonic, both with different Sonic games. Both of them. You're going to be doing Advance 2 right after the break here. So everyone stay tuned. We're just going to be going to a quick break. So be sure to follow Kirby Master, stay hydrated, and we'll be right back right after this. All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to Victory Lap. I am, as you could probably tell, not nuclear, but I am Richard, and I am here to introduce Kirby Master, who was just on actually. We just saw a tactics game from him. Sonic Advance 2, maybe not as much of a tactics game, but still very impressive, because we're going to be seeing some platforming action here from Kirby. Before we get started, though, a couple of announcements that I want to remind everyone of here for GDQ Hotfix. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to press the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, you can go to Games Done Quick on Twitch, so twitch.tv/Games Done Quick if you're interested in looking at our live content, starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern, weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. But with that, we just saw a really good run of Fire Emblem Awakening from Kirby, and now we're going to be seeing some Sonic Advance. Kirby, what do we have in store here for this run?
Yeah, so this is Sonic Advance 2, second game of the Sonic Advance trilogy for the Game Boy Advance, on Nintendo Game Boy Advance. So I actually showed this game off, exact same category actually, on Victory Lap last April on Nuclear Show. I think the time for that was like a 22:17, I think. This run is over a minute faster with the same category. Yeah, that's a huge improvement, and especially in like a 20-minute category. Yeah, that's pretty huge. And like, my goal for this was a sub 2140, because there's just a lot of luck involved with this game. Partially from bosses, also partially from inconsistent, not so great physics. I cut that by a lot with this run, which I didn't expect. So. Yeah, this was like, I mean, obviously there's no run's perfect, but like, this was kind of like the run for me. Like, this run is incredibly, stupidly good. Like, I don't think I'll ever beat this, ever. This run is so ridiculously good. Not
with that attitude. I believe in you.
I did run this game for Ant Knuckles at HDQ Online. You're going to be seeing the Sonic category, and this game is very much built around Sonic. Like, this game introduced boost mode, and tricking, and Sonic, and Sonic has air dashing, and air dashing complements boost mode. Therefore, the meta for this game is basically 1, do you have air dashing? Which is, in other words, are you Sonic? 2, do you have good tricks? In other words, are you Sonic? So this game is basically Sonic. And all the other characters play like 90% the same, which is a shame because like flight's almost useless, gliding is almost useless, and so on. But Sonic is like the meta-defining character for this, and like he just plays nothing like everyone else. He's the most consistent character. He's the most broken character. He's the fastest character. This game is built for Sonic. It's one of those rare cases where Sonic's actually the fastest character in a 2D Sonic game, because usually it's not Sonic. But without further ado, I don't have the splits. I don't have splits visible here, but I can go ahead and just dive in.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So best character in the game, Sonic, right here, and we dive in. So at the very start of the stage, every stage we have a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and you need to press right at the start. That's a 2-frame jump, by the way. And you have a 4-frame window to press right after the 3, 2, 1 countdown to get a lot of speed. If you don't get it, you're losing a lot of time. Sometimes that can be run ending in a few cases. It's a 4-frame window in a 60 FPS game, so it's consistent enough, but like it's still small enough where occasionally I'll miss it, and that's really bad. So if you see these holograms behind Sonic, that's boost mode. When you're in boost mode, you go fast, and you go fast, and you accelerate more and more and more. And every time you see Sonic doing like a yeet, that's an air dash, and every air dash I do is a double tap. So I have to double tap right as I leave the ground to air dash on the ground, or maybe I have to time it in the middle of the air to get more distance, and so on. So air dash, and you just keep going fast. In order to get boost mode, you need, what's it called? You need to hit certain springs or boost pads or run for a long time. So that spring right there gives you boost mode. And then that's a forward trick. So when you hit certain springs or loops or ramps, you can trick in 1 of 4 directions, and that's a really important mechanic that I'll go over when it's more relevant. So right here, I need to do an air dash over this, and sometimes you'll go underneath this rail, which is ideal. I landed on the rail, which is bad. Not a big deal. I just need to make sure I slow down a bit and roll under that, because if I don't slow down enough, then I will lose all my speed at the corner of that loop, because this game's physics are not well built for the speed that this game is designed for, unfortunately. So you have to make sure you slow down there if you happen to take that route. And this route up here is not the fastest route, but it is a very consistent route for Sonic because air dashing is broken. So I always take this for full game runs because it's so consistent. And last but not least, you kind of see me slowing down here. Similar to how a lot of Sonic games where if you try to prioritize real time, you have to sacrifice in-game time due to like time bonus and stuff. Time bonus is skippable in this game, so that's nice. But if you go through the finish line really quickly, you'll take a really long time to skid to a halt. So you kind of want to make sure you like kill boost mode and slow down before you hit the finish line to mitigate the time loss of coming to a complete stop. And so every time you see me end the stage, you'll see me like slow down and try to basically cut all my speed just before the finish line. All right, this is the first boss in the game. Every boss is an auto runner. Don't blink. That was a bad fight because the ideal for the task time is 4:62. I get the task time in about half the time. I lost 1.18 seconds compared to task. So this boss was really bad for Sonic. Other characters take around 7 to 8 seconds. That's how broken Sonic is. But unfortunately, I did not get the task perfect time. But oh well. Alright, so this is Hot Crater. This is the notorious stage notorious for being hold right to win, and there's some truth to that because half the stage is basically hold right. I'm going to do a giant air dash over this loop here. That jump is like almost impossible with other characters because they don't have air dashing. I'll show it off again. Roll through, air dash, roll underneath, and air dash. That skip is almost impossible with other characters because, again, air dashing. And that was a minor mistake right there because when you hit, and that's one other minor mechanic I can go over really quickly because every time you see one of these jump ramps coming up there, you want to hit A at the last possible frame as you touch the jump pad. That's really hard to do because you're going so fast in this game because the later you press A, the higher and further you'll get flung, which is good because you go faster. Unfortunately, I failed and I pressed A too early to the point where I actually jumped over the rail, over the jump pad. So, here. And I jumped over it because I just pressed A way too early, but yeah, that's just how it goes. Not a big deal. And you just hold right, jump there, hold right, basically. And we want to skip that jump pad. Pretty straightforward stage. We just air dash, air dash, air dash. And you want to try air dashing. Oh, that was a mistake right there. So you kind of want to air dash whenever you're going off of like a downhill incline, because there's like a mechanic called a slope jump, where when you jump off a downhill slope like right there, you like jump horizontally faster. Like you kind of jump downward at a downward angle faster, but you don't get much height, which is good in a lot of cases. It's good for like gaining speed, especially when you combine it with an air dash. The opposite is an uphill slope jump, which you can kind of see an example of that. I jumped a bit too far back, but you'll see it soon. It's the opposite, that right there, where you jump really high, but you kind of go up and you don't get as much horizontal speed, which you obviously need to do in some cases to get height, such as that jump there. But because air dashing is so broken, you can regain a lot of that speed. So that mistake right there was me trying to do an air dash, but I failed at input. Because again, every air dash I do is a double tap input, and you have to do them pretty quickly. So like every time I air dash, I have to double tap right every single time. You can actually see the input display at the top for here if you're interested in paying attention to that. So if you look at the input display, I'm about to do 3 air dashes in a row here. Boom, 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 just to get speed. Forward trick, air dash, roll, air dash, and then try to hit the boost pad down here. And right there, there's a random chance the game just kind of flings you horizontally out of your control. It's kind of stupid, and because you lose so much speed when that happens. It can be run ending if you're not Sonic, because you don't have a way to accelerate, and you have to make a really big slope jump right there. If you don't have enough speed, you're not making that jump. But if you're Sonic, you don't care because you have air dashing. Also, we're Sonic, so we can air dash and keep all our speed there. If you're not Sonic, then you have a very high chance of losing boost mode with this jump because you can't air dash. That is probably the biggest mistake in the run right there. So what I meant to do, is kind of jump like here, and then, let's see. Yeah, I meant to like kind of air dash here, because there's a rail like off screen in that direction. Unfortunately, I air dashed too early, so I actually bonked on this little wall right here and lost all my speed. So, and this is the kind of speedrun where like if you ever make a single mistake, it's a giant effing disaster. Like you will lose.
You're
like 10,
trying to
20,
maintain your speed, right?
Yeah, like this game is so ridiculously punishing that if you make a single mistake, you will lose a massive amount of time usually, because this game is all boost mode. If you make a mistake, you lose boost mode. And boost mode, boost mode, boost mode, boost mode, boost mode. That's the meta for this game. So that's really bad. And I'm like, okay, how can I keep boost mode? I try to keep it there, but I didn't have enough speed. So like the reality of this game is you will screw up, you will make mistakes, you will lose boost mode, whether it's through your own mistakes or the game hating you, because the game can just do that randomly. So you just have to know how to mitigate the time losses. And that was one scenario where I'm like, okay, I know what to do. I know how to get boost mode back pretty quickly without losing much time. So I only lost like 5 seconds there, which is a pretty good chunk of time, but it could have been worse. Here's the boss. Shocker, Sonic's the fastest character in the game for bosses. We're gonna get 3 hits there with a air dash, jump in, jump, air dash, roll in. That hit's unintentional, so I lost like 2 seconds there, unfortunately. I'll go over it again, because that boss goes by way too quickly. Air dash, I control my speed, so I slow down just enough so I don't touch the boss. But I need to have enough speed to get 3 hits right there. So that's 3 hits. I do a grounded air dash, jump in for the 4th hit, air dash to keep up, control my speed, 5th hit, roll, destroy the cannon, jump into Eggman. And ideally, I would have jumped and air dashed over that bomb, but I jumped too late, so I got hit. So that could have been an 8-second fight, but unfortunately, that was a 9-second fight. Other characters, Knuckles can usually do 11 seconds. Cream takes about 10 seconds. Tails and Amy, you cry, and you just pray you get less than 20 seconds because they're terrible at bosses. They're the worst characters in the game for bosses. All right, so this stage. I have a lot of profanity I would like to unleash on this stage, but I will not.
But Kirby loves this stage. Love this stage.
This is an aesthetically pleasing stage, and the music is great. That's the only positive thing I will say about the stage, and why a lot of people defend it. This stage does not work. I'll put it very bluntly. The stage does not work. It is not programmed properly to handle the speed for this game, and everything was just designed to kill your speed. and is in horrible places. You're not going to see any of that because the stage decided to be kind to me. So this is pretty much a perfect stage in this run, I think. But for now, I need to get a 4-frame window to press right because I need to get boost by running. If I fail this, your run's over. And if you are not Sonic, you need to jump at exactly frame 462 on the slope. Otherwise, you lose about 10 seconds. That's why you don't run anyone not named Sonic because they're terrible in this game. But Sonic can just air dash and he doesn't care. So yep, that's going smoothly. There's a random chance that this rail doesn't work. There's a random chance this rail flings you into the ceiling and loses you like 3 seconds and kills boost. There's a random chance that that ceiling right there will kill boost. There's a random chance that the game will eat your jump input here.
This is really sounding like this is just the Fire
Awakening.
Emblem stage.
Yeah, this is basically Awakening, but worse. There's a random chance the game will eat your jump anywhere on the slope, by the way.
Oh, geez.
So if you lose it, you just lost like 10 seconds.
What?
There's a random chance that spikes hit you because the trajectory is basically random. There's a random chance that that spring will kill boost. There's a random chance that slope will kill boost. And I think that's mostly it. There's a random chance you lose boost here because the physics don't work. And the last thing to note on the stage is so I need to control my speed just enough. So I need to slow down because if I go too fast, I'm gonna hit this spring and then clip this corner and lose all my speed. That's very bad. So you need to kind of just slow down just enough so you kind of bonk like that and avoid the corner. Failing that, what you can do is try to land on this railing. Rails don't work in this game. You need to land on this tiny horizontal piece of the rail. If you need, which is what you have to do casually, by the way. All of these complaints I'm making is not speedrun specific. These all affect you casually and are worse casually. This rail, you have to use this rail casually. But thankfully we're skipping it in the speedrun. This rail doesn't work half the time. If you miss it, you will either fall on the spikes that's down here and then get knocked to your death to the right, or you'll just fall down here and fall to your death. Welcome to Music Plant. Welcome to Music Plant. So, yep. Welcome to Music Plant. Oh, second stage isn't much better, by the way.
Oh,
because there's two acts.
Of course. Yeah. Why would it? Why would
yeah?
It be
Why would
better?
the stage work properly?
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Act 1 in terms of like how much time you lose. By the way, that rail has a 50-50 chance of not working. So if it doesn't work and you're not Tails or Knuckles or Cream, then your run's over. So you just have a chance of losing a run there if you're Sonic or Amy. And there's nothing you can do about it because Music Plant is a well-designed stage. That's a mistake. I meant to do a ramp jump, but that's okay. There's a random chance to lose boost here, which unfortunately I did. I can't do anything about that, so I just have to deal with the time loss. Nothing you can do about that usually. But it's happened so many times that you can kind of see I know exactly what to do because I'm just like, well, here we go, Music Plant
You're
again.
just used to the.
No, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
Random chance to lose boost right there. Uncommon with Sonic though, but because Sonic's broken. But with other characters, it's a very big deal because you don't have air dashing. And random chance, these springs don't lead you into each other. So like sometimes there's a spring. Let's see, I can go back. Yep, so there is a spring right there. There, that diagonal spring will sometimes overshoot you and not hit that spring, and you lose like 2 seconds. And sometimes you clip into the ceiling out of bounds there because the physics don't work, and you lose it like 2 seconds. Music Plant. But we got through that relatively unscathed. Like I got screwed by losing boost mode like in one spot, but like it could have been much worse though. I've seen worse things. For all intents and purposes, Act 1 was pretty much perfect, and Act 2 was like fine. So I was like, this is good enough. Let's move on to the boss. The boss is very interesting, very horrible with some characters. Not as bad with Sonic because air dashing is broken. So what I'm trying to do here is a kind of a setup. I'll let it speak for itself. And 5-second fight. There we go. Let me explain that again, because what I'm trying to do is catch up past the boss, which you can't really do with other characters reliably. I need to land on the very tip of this platform, which has spikes. So like I need to not get hit by the spikes. And then, which I did. And I need to like, I'm kind of pause buffering to make sure I get the exact lineup. So like, let's see if I can get this properly. I'm lining up Sonic's shoe with this shaded line vertical parts of the platforms, like right there. There's like a part of the platform.
Pixel perfect.
You have a little bit of leeway, but the pausing just gives me more leeway with just not having to do it immediately, because if you don't do it quickly enough, then the platforms start moving and you get flung off.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, yeah, you can kind of see there's like a shaded part of the platform here that I'm lining up Sonic's shoe with, and that's what I'm trying to line up. And once I get that, you spin dash and you're good. If you don't get the quick kill, which I'm roughly 50-50 on with Sonic, then you have to fight the boss manually, but because air dashing is broken, Sonic loses only like 10 seconds, which is a lot of time, but it's much better than other characters, not named Cream, who can take like 30 to 40 seconds. So. But yeah, the quick kill is a huge deal, and that's why like my goal for this game was like relatively high, and then I just happened to get this ridiculous time, which was destroyed my goal. Because I just happened to get that quick kill, because that is a very big deal. Alright, so keeping boost mode at the start of the stage is really difficult, unless you're Sonic. So Tails and Cream have to grab this lever right here, and then there's like 2 or 3 specific frame perfect inputs you can do to get flung off and keep boost mode here. But Sonic has air dashing, so he doesn't care. Amy and Knuckles can take a different route that's much more reliable for keeping boost mode. Sonic can too, but he's Sonic, he doesn't care. And then we have to make sure we keep boost mode through here. There's an annoying penguin you can kind of see here. Since we're Sonic, we can just roll through and air dash. And we don't care. Sonic goes fast. And that was a minor mistake. I meant to do like, my air dash input was a little slow there, so I ended up doing a jump instead of an air dash, so I can kind of show that really quickly. I meant to do a grounded air dash to accelerate right there, but I meant to jump instead, because I didn't press right quickly enough. By the way, random chance to lose boost here. And that's run over basically, because you lose a massive amount of time. Because there's no other place to get boost mode quickly. We're like the entire middle of the stage. And otherwise, pretty self-explanatory. I'm just kind of going fast and keeping boost mode as much as possible. Trying to get the speed juice here. Ideally, I'm going to try to do an air dash into the very corner of the speed juice so that I can, let's see, bounce, let's see, like kind of hit the corner and then bounce over and keep boost mode. I failed that, so I lost boost mode, but if you have speed juice, you get boost mode back really quickly by running, so it's not really a big deal. And here we go. That's his up trick, by the way. Sonic has a very good up trick. Pretty much every trick in the game, Sonic is the best at, besides down trick, which is the most useless trick in the game anyway, so it doesn't matter. Right, so Act 2. This is the one time you'll see the homing attack used. Yes, Sonic can homing attack in this game. And we're gonna homing attack this penguin here. Which is convenient, because the item box is in the way. So what you're about to see instead is he bops it and goes over the penguin. Very convenient, because actually homing attacking an enemy is very slow. But we cancel that with an item box, which is convenience. Do a quick back trick. And I never mentioned Sonic's back trick, but Sonic's back trick is probably the best in the game as well, because it's very fast, it has like no startup, and it gives you like a decent amount of horizontal speed while letting you get a bit of vertical. So if you just need a little bit of vertical distance while maintaining horizontal speed, his back trick is very good. And there are a few other cases where you'll see me use it. This is another mistake coming up here. I landed on that corner there and lost boost, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I'll show it off again. So you kind of have to blindly control your speed, so you kind of just fall into this pit. Kind of like want to fall like this without hitting the corner that's like right here. But unfortunately, I pulled back a tiny bit too much, so I did land on the corner, so I lost all my downward speed, meaning I couldn't keep boost mode when I landed on the slope. Not a big deal again, because we're Sonic. Because we can get boost mode like that and then air dash and keep it like that. But it is a time loss. By the way, random chance to lose boost here, especially if your Tails or Cream, because they're terrible at stages. That's a me mistake. I jumped too late and hit the corner, so rip boost. But again, there's a boost pad there, so it's not too big of a deal. See, this is one of those stages that didn't go that well, but like I mitigated like all the time loss, so like I didn't lose as much time as I could have. All right, need to do a really tight slope jump there, and because we're Sonic, we can make that before the boss reaches the corner, and then boss is dead. This is basically random, because sometimes you get a random trajectory that just happens to bounce you off the boss, and you just have to kill him manually, and that loses at least 10 seconds if you don't get the quick kill. But we did. Hooray. So yeah, like at this point, I was like, okay, I almost never get a run where I get the music plant boss quick kill and the ice paradise boss quick kill. It's like, that's so rare because they're both really difficult to do and random, kind of random. So I was like kind of panicking at this point because I'm like, oh my God, am I actually going to get a run going where I have both quick kills? Which has happened, but I think this is like the 4th one I've ever done in like the past few months where like I actually had a run with both of the quick kills. So I was pretty nervous. But thankfully I'm really well practiced at the late game, so I knew what to do. And this is Sky Canyon, so let me just explain the stage and the stage design of this game and why Sonic is so broken. Because Sonic excels at horizontal mobility, because air dash, air dash, air dash. He does not have like any vertical mobility in this game. Like he cannot fly, he cannot do high jumps, he cannot climb. Every Sonic Advance 2 stage in the game is a horizontal line going descending down. Just descending down. If you go to Sonic Center and open up any map, you'll notice like they're all like a really long line that just kind of trends downward. And that's one big reason why Sonic is so ridiculously broken, because the level design is perfect for it. Like, yeah. Sky Canyon is the exception. Instead of a horizontal line that goes down, it's a horizontal line that goes up. But it's still horizontal, so Sonic's still the best character in the game. So you're going to see a lot of like kind of big jumps and climbing up right here. And you can kind of see the sexy bit of air dashing here while keeping my boost mode. Because I have to like slow down just enough, so I'll show that off again. Like, because you lose boost mode if you're on the ground without enough speed, but if I go too fast, then I'm just gonna, if I go too fast, I'm gonna like clip the corner right here. So I have to slow down just enough to avoid the corner, but not too much where I lose boost. I have to do it again right here, because if I'm going too fast, I'll hit this windmill right here, and I want to avoid that. So there's just a lot of speed control right here to make sure I keep boost, not hit the corner, not hit the windmill thingy, but still make it through cleanly. Probably my favorite part of speedrun in the entire game, honestly, because it's so satisfying. Grabbing some speed shoes, and we're gonna do kind of a big skip right here, which skips like another third of the stage with that big jump. Forward trick into the bouncer, into the hidden wall, which is a nice shortcut, and we just kind of jump over everything because we're Sonic and we have air dashing. And there's a bit of a skip here coming up too, where you're kind of supposed to go down, hit a windmill that flings you up, then you go down and around and you hit the goal. We're gonna skip that. So kind of do a YOLO jump and an air dash and land on the top bottom of an upside down platform and then skip that. Every character can do that except for Amy. And 46 is a good time. Like, that is a good time. That was really good. Like, the Sky Canyon in this run was just fantastic in general. Like, this is just very clean movement, no mistakes anywhere. I could save time in the first part of this stage here, but I don't, because there is a cycle that we're really heavily bottlenecked by. Because like, we're so fast that you have to wait, even if you're really fast, you have to wait like 2 seconds for this block to move out of the way because Sonic is so broken. So I just take things safe and play it slow. Air dash here. And last thing to note, let's see. Random ring boxes are a thing, and something that a lot of people don't know about this game is that the more rings you have, the more air acceleration you have. That means rings are important. If you ever get hit at a bad spot in this game, your run's dead because you just do not have air mobility. You cannot make a lot of jumps in this game, and you just lose time every single time you jump if you lose your rings. Unfortunately, that also means random ring boxes actually matter quite a bit. Which sucks. So
more randomness.
More randomness, I know. So there's a random ring box, and I got 1 ring! Hooray! 1 ring!
You're
You
so
can
lucky.
you can get 1 ring, 5 rings, 10 rings, 30 rings, or 50 rings. It's not too big of a deal with Sonic because air dashing is broken. That might have been the most commonly repeated phrase in the stream. But since I only got 1 ring, I decided to grab that random ring box right there. It is faster to skip it, but because I got really bad luck, I decided to grab that random ring box. And I'm at 52 rings. 50 rings, let's go! So that saves time on these really big jumps right here, because I can afford to like trick earlier than usual, because I have so much air mobility that these gaps are really easy to make. And then, again, it matters for these bouncers too, because I have a lot more air mobility here, so I'll accelerate more quickly off of that last bouncer and save a bit of time. And sub 50 is very good. Alright, so this next boss coming up is notorious among casuals. To quote Chocolate Dave, he calls this boss Big Slappy, because this hand here has a Crusher hitbox. That means it instantly kills you, even if you have rings, and even if you have iframes. So a lot of people hate this boss for the most, for good reason. However, for me, it is random, but it's a very predictable boss. Like the timing of the hand is consistent, even if the hand attack is random. And it's a surprisingly not inconsistent boss. Like there's still some annoying stuff with it, but this is not one of those bosses where I struggle with as much with most characters. So right off the bat, there's a slope. I'm gonna get a free hit because air dashing's broken. And I tried to go for another free hit, but I missed it. And as Sonic, you kind of need to go for these side hits with Sonic's Insta Shield, which is a 2-frame window, I believe. And I got 2 in a row right there, so that's nice. Avoid the hand, get another hit, 1 more hit to kill, dead. Very good fight. Very good fight. Usually I got a 25-second fight with Sonic, because that's 3 cycles around, but I got a 2-cycle fight, which is really good.
That's really good.
So that was a fantastic fight. Like, Sky Canyon overall was just fantastic in this game, in this run. I will say Techno Base is the 6th zone, and there are a good chunk of flashing lights in the background for the first two acts of this zone. So if you do have some photosensitivity, then I will recommend to look away or take some caution. Things are fine once you get to the boss. There's a good chance I'll forget to mention that. So once you get to the boss,
I'll mention it afterwards. I'll remind the chat.
This is one of the longest stages in the game, and also one of the scariest, because there's just so many things that can just bop you and lose your rings. And this is one of the stages where losing your rings is a giant disaster. So another factor with the rings is not only do you get more air acceleration, but the more rings you have, the more quickly you get boost mode by running. So right here, go back to the start of the stage. Actually make a bit of a detour to grab those 3 rings, because those matter. Because you need around at like a minimum like 12 to 13 rings to get boost mode right here. There, and I barely got it, so I want to keep it as long as possible. And you can kind of see Sonic's backtrick being useful there for getting a little bit of height while gaining a lot of horizontal speed. Taking these lower routes here. And boost pad. And keeping boost mode, falling through this gap right here is really difficult, because like it's like almost impossible if you're not Sonic. If you are Sonic, it's only difficult, but not impossible, because basically like there's a bunch of bumpers right here, and there's also like this giant wall right here that I need to kind of fall cleanly through diagonally like this without touching them. And it's all blind, and it also varies because rings affect your air acceleration. So like I have to just adjust depending on how many rings I have. So I almost clipped the corner there, but I didn't. And if you do happen to keep boost as you land, there's a random chance to lose boost mode here anyways. So even if you play that perfectly, you might just lose boost mode anyways. Especially if you're not Sonic. But conveniently enough, this spring right here gives you boost mode, so it's not the end of the world if you do lose boost mode by the game hating you. There is a minor mistake here. I land on that block there, which is time loss. It actually doesn't matter. I'll explain why in a bit, but I'll show off what you have to do here again, because it's actually really difficult. I kind of need to like make sure I start accelerating down this thing at the right time. So like I just started moving left, as you can tell right there, and I need to like slowly move left and fall through that gap. I need to like cleanly fall through like this perfectly. If I move too early, I'll clip this corner right here, and then I'll land on the block. If I move too late, which I did in this case, then I'll land on the block. Sucks if it happens. It's really hard to do. If you're going for IL world record, that's a run killer every time. I missed it. Not a big deal. Because this spring gives you boost mode, and if we avoided that mistake, this block would have blocked us anyways. So we made the early cycle anyway, so it didn't matter. And just more smooth movement here. And there is a lower route I can take here, but that's kind of an individual level only route. Like it's a really inconsistent route that saves like 1 second. It's not worth it in a full game run.
Have you ever been behind in a run and was like, oh, I'll try it?
Yes. I've been punished. Like there's even a strat you can do like right here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, this strat right here, where I think it's safe by letting the game play itself basically by hitting these springs, but you can avoid that spring. And you can kind of just like fall down and do an YOLO air dash and skip this spring and also skip that spring. And you just kind of cleanly fall through this gap here. And if you mistime it, you die.
Oh,
it saves
okay.
like a second. I've done that. I've gone for that before and usually die.
Usually, but the times that you get it, that's when you get the most excited.
Yeah. It's pretty great. Right, so yeah, there is that bridge that's on a cycle. Other characters have to be wary of it, but because we're Sonic, we don't have to care because we're fast enough to make the earliest cycle. And this is a pretty straightforward stick, kind of a straightforward stage. It's kind of self-explanatory. Just go fast. We're about to get a set of speed shoes coming up. Speed shoes are good. Going fast is good. And right here, we're doing a really big jump because you're kind of at a part of a stage where you kind of do like a bazillion figure eights. But we're going to kind of just jump through all that with one big jump. So big jump, skip all that. Big jump here, skip that. And if you miss time, those are like all blind jumps. So like if you miss time any of those, you fall on a lower route, you'll lose like a lot of time. So those are all they're consistent enough jumps, but really punishing if you miss them.
So there's what you're saying is there's no way for you to be able to like adjust if you like, let's say your first jump is like bad.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you're just kind of just screwed?
You're screwed, yeah. Because you can't go back up. Even if your tails are creamy, you'll waste so much time to go back up. You don't have boost mode anymore, so you just have to commit to the bottom route and waste a bunch of time.
Wow.
So it's really bad to miss those jumps. All right, this is the worst boss in the game. It's because these yellow platforms will have a random chance to spike. Thanks, Spike Vegeta. And these gray platforms have a random chance to spin, so you can't stand on them. And sometimes this boss will spike and spin all at the same time. And he'll do it repeatedly over and over and over again. It's great. And you cannot hit him unless your name is Cream. Lovely.
Hold on. Sonic's name is not Cream.
Yeah, we're not Cream. There's 2 things that Cream is better than Sonic at. No, 3 things. This boss, Big Slappy, and the last boss, which Cream's not even the best character at. Everything else, Sonic obsoletes are at. Which is funny because like Cream's notorious for like being the boss killer of the game, which is true. Like she's the lazy, easy way because you just press the attack button and you win. But it's slow. You don't want to do that a lot of times. Watch your Cream world record. I got that like a month ago. But I am doing RNG manipulation here because the RNG is set for each boss when they start, and it doesn't advance until the RNG is used. It does advance if you make dust clouds. So I just kind of want to make sure I'm not skidding here, which is why you kind of see me staggering my movement. And then as long as you don't skid or make any dust clouds at the start, you're guaranteed a pattern at the start where your orange platforms will not spike. So we're good here. And now we just have to hit the boss and pray that we get lucky bounces because that's basically random. If you're lucky, you can get 4 bounces in a row and just kind of destroy him and delete him in 6 seconds. We only got 1 bounce, so that's unlucky. We got 2 bounces, that's also unlucky. We got 1 bounce, that's unlucky. And he said no, but we still got a 12-second fight. We lost 6 seconds compared to ideal, But this boss can also take over 40 seconds out of your control because F you. So I'll gladly take a 12-second fight. Like, no joke, I have taken over 40 seconds on this fight out of my control. It's so bad. It's just luck.
We need to find some more consistent games for you.
Yeah,
that
consistent
don't have
games.
RNG.
Like Sonic Advance 1, that's a consistent game. Even though the last boss sucks, but it's nowhere near as bad as any of the Advance 2 bosses. Which I did get the world record in Advance 1 early today, off stream.
Yo, congrats.
Thank you.
Why didn't we swap that in here?
Because I haven't encoded it yet.
Oh.
Hey, this is one of my favorite stages in the game. This really smooth movement, lots of gravity shenanigans. It just looks really cool. And we need around 50 rings to get boost mode here, 45 to 50. We got it. And it's an invincibility box, which is nice. And you kind of see a lot of speed control to make sure I avoid losing my speed at the corners. Going fast. And Sonic just goes fast. And one thing to note here, there is a route where you take this cannon coming up. Yeah, I skip it because Sonic is fast. He's broken. He doesn't need it. But it does save 1 second to take the cannon if the cycles line up. They do not line up for me, so I avoid it. But if you take the cannon and go up, there's like a block that's like going up and down. Like, there's like a block that's like going up and down, and it has to be on the down cycle. Otherwise, it's going to block your way, and you'll lose boost mode. So I'm like constantly checking a timer before I enter the cannon to be like, okay, should I enter the cannon? Should I enter the cannon? Should I enter the cannon? In this case, no. The next cycle I want to enter is I think at the 56-second cycle mark, which is not worth it. Other characters, they will make a 1 minute to 102 second cycle, which is like 10 seconds slower than Sonic because Sonic's broken. Pretty consistently though, and like they don't have the option to take the route that Sonic's taking because they don't have air dashing. But it does, if cycles line up, it is about 1 second faster for Sonic to take the cannon. They did not line up, so it's not worth it. We just take this route instead. And that trick right there is not necessary, but I'm playing it safe because I'm scared. And stage done. Very well done stage. Not perfect, but I'm very happy with that. And Act 2 is probably my favorite act in the run. Like, Act 2 Egutopia is probably my favorite stage to speedrun because it's just so swag and so fast and fancy. And so even more gravity shenanigans. So enjoy, I guess. Unfortunately, keeping boost here is random. We kept it, so we're good. Not too big of a deal if you do lose it, because you'll get boost mode pretty quickly. One thing to note, I'll skip to the right spot. Go back. There is a random ring box, and that matters. That right there. That matters. I'm at 42 rings. 46. I got 5 rings, which is the second worst possible luck. That does matter. You'll see why. Well, first of all, it matters for this jump here, because if you have too many rings, you'll overshoot and hit the B, so you have to adjust. If you have too few rings, you can't make it, or it's much harder to make it. And I pretty much do a giant YOLO jump to skip that entire part, and I lost boost. Let's go over that again, because that is probably one of the biggest mistakes in the run right there.
Because one thing that we've learned is Sonic good, boost good.
Yes, Sonic good, boost good. So I'm doing a really blind jump, and I'm like trying to slow down just enough so I like avoid this wall. But unfortunately, I didn't slow down enough, so I clipped the corner and lost my boost. If you don't pull back enough, you'll fall into a gap and die because you're just moving so fast. So that's unfortunate. That's a pretty significant time loss, like 7 or 8 seconds, I think. Usually, it's not too big of a deal because you can get boost pretty quickly if you have enough rings. Remember, we got a random ring box, gave us 5 rings. And there's a speed shoes here and another random ring box right there. And I got 5 rings again. And unfortunately, that is not enough to get boost mode here. Because if you have like 90 rings, at least you can get boost mode by just running up this wall we just got. I did not, so I lost even more time because of luck. So now I just have to get boost mode by running here, which costs me even more time. Nothing I can do about it. I mean, well, I can do something about it. I made the mistake in the first place, but I couldn't mitigate the time loss because the game gave me garbage ring luck, which is just how it goes. But I knew what to do, so I'm like, okay, that sucks, but oh well. So just gotta make do with what I've got after that mistake. And we're pretty much at the end of the stage. Okay, so we have one boss left, and then the final zone, which is a giant boss rush. If you really like Advanced 2 bosses for some reason, then this game's for you, because you have to refight every single one of them after this. But for now, this boss has a gimmick where you can control gravity by pressing up or down, which is kind of cool. We're gonna just delete this boss. So now we're upside down. Get a hit. He moves off screen. 2 hits. GG. He can either move left immediately, which is what he did, and that's better, or he can wait and then fall down. Which, in that case, you lose a little bit of time, but you can kind of get in a position to get 3 quick hits on that. So it's a little slower, but it's not a big deal. You just have to know what to do in both scenarios. Okay, so boss rush. We're free fighting all 7 bosses with half HP now. There isn't really too much to talk about. I will say we do speedrun as an easy difficulty. And here's slightly venting Kirby coming out here. I don't want to hear people complain about that because you heard about all the luck-related stuff I just went over, just like Awakening. There's so much that can go wrong in this run, even though it's on easy mode. The only thing, easy mode does change a few things. So boss HP goes from 8 to 6 if you go from normal to easy mode, which means less luck. And in the case of the boss rush, all boss HP goes from 4 to 3, which is a pretty big deal. And there's also some enemies that get removed in some stages, which is faster in some cases, slower in some cases. Because, like, for example, in Eggtopia 2, the stage we just did, if you're not named Sonic, you have to rely on hitting an enemy to access the top route. But that enemy's gone in easy mode, so you lose a lot of time on easy mode in that stage. But what can you do? This is a bit of a time loss here. I'm doing a bit of a setup to try to get a quick kill on this boss and get in the corner, but unfortunately I didn't. Not the end of the world, because I did get 2 hits, so just probably like 4 or 5 seconds of time lost there. But I got the more important quick kills, so I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. All right, here's Big Slappy. Shout out to Chocolate Dave. We're gonna get a free hit here. Oh, by the way, let me point something interesting out. You can just, no matter how many rings you have, you can just be holding right the entire time. Regardless how many rings you have, you will randomly run ahead like that sometimes, which I did, which you want. Sometimes you will not run ahead and you can't get this hit. And you just lose time. It's random because Sonic Advance 2. It doesn't really matter for Sonic because air dashing is broken, but if you're anyone not named Sonic, you lose a lot of time if you don't get the lucky run ahead of the boss. So, nothing you can do about it. You just pray. Unless you're Sonic, then you don't care because you're Sonic. And now here's the worst boss in the game. We want to get 3 bounces in a row. We got none there. We got none. We got none. But the boss let us hit him at least, so I'm not complaining. Like, he didn't, like, stop me from hitting him in the first place, so I'm not complaining about not getting hit there. And the last luck-related thing is this boss right at the start of this fight, this free fight, this boss has a chance to go off screen immediately, which loses you 45 seconds. Nothing you can do about it. Thankfully, he didn't, so we didn't lose that time. And we have the final boss coming up, which is the only non-auto-running fight in the game, thankfully. And it has no luck involved either, which is very nice. And you can hit the arms, but there's no point to it because the goal is to hit the head 6 times. So this is a surprisingly consistent fight. Kind of just try to stay out of range of the arms. Gonna do an air dash here to get some momentum and get a 3rd hit. I tried to land on the left platform, but I didn't. Not a big deal. 4, 5 air dash, land, spin dash, done. Very good fight. Like, this was just a very fantastic endgame overall. So, really good run, and the timing for this was 21:17. So, I think the run that I showcased in Victory Lap last year was a 22:19. So, this is over 1 minute faster than that, and like, remember, like, I said at the start of this that my goal was a 21:40, or like, it was 21:40-ish. And then I cut that by over 20 seconds. I was like, oh my god, this run is ridiculous. Like, yeah, sure, there's some mistakes. There's some significant mistakes, but like, you heard the general pattern of, oh, this game can just screw you over by killing all your boost mode for no reason. Or, oh, this boss has luck. Cool. But like, getting a 21:17 in this game is so ridiculous with how lucky I got and how well I executed. And like, I'm not going to complain. This run is fantastic. Like, obviously improvable, but like, if someone's ever going to beat this, they're going to have to work their butt off for it, like really hard, myself included. Like, I cannot see myself beating this like ever. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Very happy with that run, and yep.
Yeah, thanks Kirby for being on. That was an incredible run there, and you just mentioned that you got a PB earlier. We're gonna need to get you back on to Victory Lap at some point to showcase that off too. Before I let you go, though, I do have a couple of questions for you. This one is actually going to be a kind of interesting question that I just want to find out about you. But, we saw a tactics game, and then we saw this heavy platforming game. What kind of got you into speedrunning, and what kind of drives you towards those two different genres? And they're very distinct types of games, right? So, what kind of turns your gears, like gets you moving on those different kinds of games, and like what kind of made you gravitate towards those in terms of speedrunning them?
Well, I think the bottom line is I just like the games. So I'm like, oh, let's see how this speedrun looks, and speedrun looks cool, or a speedrun of this game doesn't exist, so I'm interested in trying to route it out, kind of thing. I started speedrunning because someone told me about a website called Metroid2002.com back in 2003, and I've been speedrunning and lurking Speed Demos archive ever since. No, you didn't mishear me. I've been speedrunning since 2003, or watching speedruns as well. But there's just a lot of different genres that I've speedrun, I guess. Fire Emblem's like a pretty big one that I've gotten into because of Beacon 12's segmented run of Radiant Dawn, which really impressed me, and I'm like, yo, this is really cool. I'm interested in learning the series, which had a huge learning curve because I was not used to learning how to speedrun Fire Emblem, but after I picked up a few, I'm like, okay, this is really easy for me to pick up. Not because I'm like naturally talented or anything, but because I had experience with it. Let me make that clear. Like, the only reason I'm able to pick up these games quickly, like even though I picked up Awakening like one day, was because I have experience learning all these games, so I know what works for me and have the time to do it. But I think, like, to me, I just don't see the genres. I guess I don't really see them as different genres, even though they are very different.
It's just something fun that you play.
Yeah, they're just fun games for me to play. Like, I've also speedrun. I speedrun a lot of 2D platformers, to be fair, but I've also speedrun. I've also done casual speedruns like Pokemon Puzzle League, for example. I've done a showcase of Picross for Fans Game Master.
Okay, that was really impressive.
Picross.
If nobody knows, Kirby is super fast at Picross puzzles. By the time I finish reading the numbers on the side of the screen, Kirby's already done.
Yeah.
Just put that out there.
I grew up with Picross, so it just comes naturally to me. And that's
just
also
see the
speedrun
numbers
games like
flying.
the Metroid Prime series, which are kind of platformers, but not really. Did you know I used to speedrun Kirby? Shocker, I know.
No way.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, anyways, Kirby, do you have any final shout-outs before we let you go for the night?
Shoutouts to Nuclear for hosting Victory Lap in her first place. It's a shame she couldn't make it due to technical issues, but she's always been awesome to work with. Go give Nuclear a follow. She's awesome, and she also has a cat and a dog named Kittymon and Bagel. And she's been generous enough to like have me on the show actually 3 times at this point now. And also I just be able to showcase a lot of other runners as well, both on the Victory Lap and also No Category Left Behind. And I also want to give a shout out to Richard, who's been great both for like the technical stuff on setting this up, going through the tech checks for Victory Lap, because Victory Lap setup is complicated, and also for subbing in for Nukes tonight in the first place, and also just being a cool guy in general. So thanks to both of you, and also thanks to the Sonic Speedrunning community for just being pretty awesome and supportive. I know you're there. You're all pretty cool. I won't name names because I'm going to forget people.
You know, I might be cool, but I am not as cool as that Kirby Master guy. Be sure, it's in the pinned message in chat right now. Follow twitch.tv/Kirby Master. Master is spelled MASTAH. If you are interested in, any of the runs that you saw so far tonight, Kirby does a lot of different kinds of speedruns on his stream, so be sure to check that out. And I want to give the speedrun link for the Sonic Advance series as well. It is actually speedrun.com/Sonic Advance series. No spaces or anything in between it. It's just all one word, Sonic Advance series. So
Super
if you want
Sonic is showcasing a run after this too.
Yeah. So, if you want to check out the community there, go ahead and do that. But yeah, this is not the end of Sonic for tonight. We have Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and, we're throwing the and Knuckles aside here because Super Sonic is showing off his Sonic PB in that. And we're going to be seeing that right after this break. Before we go on to the break, though, I do want to remind everyone, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, GIP subs, Bits Cheered, all help support the Games Done Quick Twitch channel with all of these continued hotfix shows. We have them on daily from 7 p.m. Eastern on the weekdays and 1 p.m. Eastern on the weekends. So be sure to check that out and subscribe if you are interested in supporting our content. Also, we're, past 900,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you want to be, getting us towards that 1 million, be sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. But yeah, besides that, thank you very much again, Kirby, for being on. We'll be right back right after this break with Super Sonic. All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to Victory Lap. This is not Nuclear. This is Richard, but I am joined here with Super Sonic, who's going to be showcasing, I'm going to get this right and not get the wrong game, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, not to be confused with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. But before we get started, I do have a couple of announcements that I would like to share with everyone here in Twitch chat or also on YouTube if you're watching in the future. And I do want to remind everyone that Unapologetically Black and Fast is coming up this weekend, February 11th and 12th. And that's going to be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern on both of the weekend days on the 11th and 12th. So if you're not a football fan and you need something to watch on February 12th, go for it. And yeah, we have a lot of cool runs there. One of the runs that I'm really excited for actually is Super Monkey Ball 1 by Peas. Super Monkey Ball games are really hard in my eyes, and it is very exciting to watch those played at a high level, and I am excited for that. That's actually going to be the second run at 2:30 p.m. this Saturday, February 11th. And also, I do want to remind everyone, if you want to follow what Games Done Quick is up to, use exclamation point links in Twitch chat for all things GDQ. But besides that, I do have a surprise for Super Sonic. I am not actually going to be hosting. There's a hotfix showrunner here that you might have known for a few years. And I believe she's actually joined with us right now. Hello, other showrunner.
What do you mean by this other showrunner? Honk!
Oh, hey.
To surprise you. Hi.
This is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm great.
Yeah, so, Cutie Roo has known Super Sonic for many, many years now, and I'm actually going to be, taking my step back and do my lurking in the shadows while I work on tech. But, with this, I figured, hey, we have this showrunner here that you've known for a while, probably can bounce things off better than I can. So, Super Sonic, what are we going to be seeing today? And, from this point on, I'll be quiet.
All right. Well, first off, everybody, hello. I am Super Sonic. Based on my name, I do speedrun Sonic games, but you may have seen me on other GDQ shows where I've ran Mario, Animaniacs, a bunch of other retro-style games. But we are going to be showcasing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the Beat the Game glitch category with Sonic. And usually you would have Tails with you, but I usually don't like to have Tails with me, so we're doing solo Sonic for this one. And so I'll be going through some stuff like in the run, some in detail, some not in detail. And yeah, I'll be drawing stuff too, like this happy face right here. But anyways, without further ado, we'll just go ahead and get this run started. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, and we're off. So we're heading into Angel Island. This zone is pretty much glitchless. You aren't going to see anything broken here at least not yet. We will get to that once we get to Hydro City 2. But for now, we're going to have Knuckles take our emeralds. We're not going to be turning super whatsoever. So we're going to kick it off with a spin dash. We're going to take this spring to grab this speed shoes here. And then just kind of head up to the top route here to grab our fire shield. And we're going to use this to get through the rest of this level here. So we're going to be doing some loop jumps to get a little more speed. And we have a bit of a cutscene here with this guy. I don't know what the boss names are. Do you know what the boss names are, Kitaru?
Honk.
Honk. Okay. Well, we'll call him Honk for now. So yeah, he burns the island on fire. We're totally fine. And since there's a lot of waterfalls, we're gonna probably get a lot of terrible bit rate, which is okay. It's pretty normal for Sonic speedrunning. We're gonna meet up with Honk again, and since we have a fire shield, we can actually stand right underneath him and just get 6 hits in. And then you'll notice that the in-game time stopped. So whenever you beat a boss, it'll actually stop the timer. However, we still have control of Sonic until the signpost lands on the ground. And you'll see here, as the score is counting down, our timer is stopped currently. Oh, I drew a very terrible line. But yeah, we timed this with RTA minus TB, which is real-time attack minus time bonuses. So the timer will stop whenever a time bonus is counting down at the end of each stage. So now we're gonna get our bubble shield. This is the only instance we will see the bubble shield in this run. So we're just gonna be traversing through these platforms here. And then we're gonna get a bounce. We normally try to get a bounce to get up on that ledge a little faster, but I missed that, which is okay. And then we're gonna grab our lightning shield, which is a really good shield in this run.
Yes.
You'll be seeing a lot of lightning shield and fire shield in this. That jump right there is actually really tough to get. Let me back that up a little bit. Oh, I backed it up too far. So we'll just watch this a little bit back again. So if I can time it right. So this ramp right here, a lot of times you can't get a really good jump off of it. You'll definitely miss the top part of this platform, which I actually got, and I used the double jump to get up here. So it is actually pretty good to land on that top of the ground there. And then we're just gonna head up here, do another spin dash. And then for this section coming up right here, yeah, runs are okay. I finished right after we get out of this tunnel, I'm gonna let go of the D-pad in general. And I'm gonna be holding right. So I'm not gonna be shooting off to the sky too much. And there's actually a good reason for this. So you're gonna see me land right up before the tree, and then I'm gonna do a double jump. That is to pretty much set up a different memory value in the game, so I can do a cutscene skip right after this boss fight. So now we have this cutscene playing right here. Those bombs won't hit us whatsoever as long as we're holding right. And you're gonna see me set up a spin dash, and I'm going to be counting 7 trees. So you'll see it right here. And I normally count it like this. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I stop and spin dash. So that is also counting towards the memory shenanigans that I'm doing. So then we fight Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik, however you want to call him. Just hit him 8 times and then you're done with the stage. So I actually hit the capsule off screen there. It's actually slightly faster. And since we barely beat the level in under 1:30, we get a 10,000 point bonus. And then you kind of see that the screen unlocks and we skip the Knuckles cutscene, which is about 5 seconds. So now here we are in Hydro City 1. This level is also glitchless. So we're just going to be going ahead, get the invisibility here, do a 2-tap spin dash off the springs, and then we'll just kind of float over from the fan there. And then do a 6-tap spin dash. So you'll kind of notice me say like, oh, 6-tap spin dash, 3-tap, 2-tap. When you get up to 6 taps on the spin dash, that'll give you like your maximum speed, but it also depends on like when you release the action button for the spin dash. So you'll kind of see that quite a bit. And I'll be saying, oh, I do a 6-tap spin dash here, or I do a 3-tap spin dash there, so on and so forth. And Insta Shield is very broken in this game. For the longest time, I thought it was the most useless move in the game, but it actually works wonders. So now we're going to be fighting this, I guess, Honk Mark II. I like to call this guy the washing machine. So
the washing machine.
Yeah, so you kind of notice that I do the insta shield there. That actually expands Sonic's hitbox, and it also protects him from being damaged. So I can actually utilize the insta shield to get a couple hits in there, and pretty much get him on the spot where I don't get like any monitors coming up from the ground. So here's like one of the first tricks coming up. So what you're gonna see here is I'm gonna intentionally take a death. This is to unload Act 1 from Act 2. So this is totally intentional. However, on the second try, I actually do miss this, because what you want to do here in this section, you want to do a one-tap spin dash to have Sonic go up here, and then you want to roll back down, and then you do like a slight jump, and then do like an insta shield to get clipped inside the ground, and then you can zip into the ground there. But I ended up missing the jump going up onto the wall here, so it didn't quite clip inside. So I had to take the death. That one was not intentional. So I am actually going to get it here on this try. Dude, I don't know why I'm struggling with it. So we see I actually get the zip. If I didn't take that intentional death in the beginning, I will actually soft lock in the level, because the game is still treating Act 1 as a part of Act 2. So we wanted to make sure to separate that. So that's why we took that intentional death in the first place. So now we got Robotnik here. We're going to be utilizing our insta shield. And then you'll kind of notice that I'm standing on my tippy toes, but the propeller here is not hitting me. That's because the hitbox is somewhere around that area, but when I'm tippy-toeing like right on this edge here of this spiral thingy or tornado, whatever, water cyclone, yeah, we'll call it a water cyclone, I can safely attack Robotnik without taking damage. And I have 0 rings for that fight too. And that's the end of Act 2.
Nicely. I mean, you're doing a very, very great job, like explaining everything, because I see you run this all the time, and I'm just like, what? So I appreciate that you're going in depth and in detail.
Yeah, I'll try my best to get it all in depth. So now we go to Marble Garden. I don't hold anything except for down, and then on this section, I'm panning the screen down because this level, it is actually infinitely vertical, so I can pretty much traverse through any part of the level here. But I was setting up for a trick to do a level wrap, which is a horizontal underflow glitch or a zip. But I unfortunately miss it here because I'm trying to look at my ring counter. I was supposed to get 3 rings here, but oh, that is a very terrible written 3, but you get the idea. But I ended up grabbing 4 rings, so when I jumped, it would actually be late. So I can't set up for the level wrap. So I have to go for a backup here. So we're going to be traversing through the level, mostly. Yeah. And then we're just going to wait for this guy to do his thing, and then these platforms are going to drop down. And then on this section, I'm going to be crouching again. So you're going to be seeing me do this about 3 times. So this is the first time we're going to be doing that. And we're going to end up on this section here where the speed shoes are. So we were about a floor above, but we somehow ended up being down here. So we're going to grab these speed shoes. And then we're just going to set up another screen wrap. So the screen wrap is actually a vertical wrap. So this is what I'm doing here. So I'm going to be panning the camera down yet again. Jeez, don't remind me, Pure Gentleman Gamer. And then I'm going to go all the way to the right until I hit a wall. And I'm actually inside a spring here. So since there was an object there, I actually unloaded the hitbox of the object. So once Sonic goes in there, I can actually object face through it. So now we're inside this spring. So we're going to use a spring to clip inside the wall. So you do like a spin dash and then a jump immediately. And then you skip like a huge chunk of the level there. And then I'm going to do it one more time in this section. I'm going to try to pause it here. So there's like a set of spikes. If I can back up a little bit on that part. See if I can catch this on this video player. There. Okay. So these spikes right here, I'm setting up a one-tap spin dash. And then when I release it, I will see like a spinning top right here. And that'll allow me to get a general idea of when I can zip. And now I'm technically out of bounds over here. This is actually the Act 2 spot that we're in. Even though it's showing like Act 1 things, but it's like broken in bits and pieces. So in Act 1, we will be fighting the Act 2 boss. So we're going to meet up with Robotnik here. We're going to pan the camera down. Now we're inside the wall. We're about right here. And then I'm going to spin dash about 4 times. And then I'm going to be moving 16 pixels to the left so I can be where Robotnik is. And using the iframes after damaging Robotnik, I will be able to safely go inside here without taking any damage. So you'll see me move a little bit, like I'm doing this inside the wall. So I can't really see where Sonic is, although I do know he's in the middle currently. So I'm gonna wait for Robotnik to come up here to take another hit. So that's 5 hits that I dealt so far. And then when he's coming by to the left, there's another hit and I'll take a hit intentionally and then I'll finish up right about here. So I'm gonna be standing there for a bit, waiting for the capsule to approach me. And then once I jump, I'm going to be panning the camera down again, and then I'm going to move right and then left right away, and that'll trigger an Act 1 completion. So although we did complete Act 1, we beat the Act 2 boss. So we're going to be going into Carnival Night. However, there's an interesting quirk about this game. Even though I am in Carnival Night right now, on the file select screen, I didn't go up a zone because I finished it at an Act 1, but the zone counter will go up 1 after you finish Act 2. So in this instance, if I don't complete Carnival Night 1 or I mess up something, it'll take me back to Marble Garden. So I have to make sure that I complete Carnival Night altogether in order to progress through the game. So now we're doing a level wrap here. So we're at the boss, and we're currently on this wall right here. This glitch is called wheel glitch. Actually, let me go back and actually explain what I'm doing. So to set up wheel glitch, I can catch this frame right here. So you kind of see Sonic touch his head underneath this wheel right here. The game is going to think that he's actually on the wheel, so it's going to give him this weird property called wheel glitch. Now with this glitch, we cannot jump, otherwise we will lose it altogether. So we're just going to kind of drop down really fast. Like you kind of see I'm already down here, and then the camera's trying to catch up to me. So we're going to utilize this to our advantage. So I'm doing a 2-tap spin dash, and then it just flings me across here. And then I'm going to land on this ledge sideways. So in this part here, I'm going to roll a little bit to bonk against the set of spikes here. And then that should make my subpixels in a way to where I can just get, wrap around and then flung across here. So you kind of notice it when I do it in this point. So now I'm getting flung across the screen and I'm still sideways. And then using this, I'm doing a 1-tap spin dash to get more speed. And now I cross the boundary, so now you see that I'm doing the level wrap here.
Forgot split food gifts. Yeah, all that in.
So now I'm going to be standing here sideways. So I'm going to wait for the boss to let go of the spinning top.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to land on this while I'm sideways. So I'm going to crouch, land on this, set up a spin dash so this thing doesn't hit me. Although I am going to take an intentional hit here to land back onto the spinning top, and then I roll on top of them. So now I'm just waiting for the spinning top to get the rest of the hits here. It only takes 4 hits to get rid of this guy. So then I actually jumped off, I got off a little early there, so I had to wait a couple more seconds to have this guy get beaten. So we still have wheel glitch enabled, and we need it for Act 2.
That's pretty neat.
So here I just do like a little fun thing to get the signpost in the ground. It doesn't really do anything, it's just for swag.
Hell yeah.
I just keep thinking, like, when you speedrun, because I know how much you love the Sonic games, especially this one.
Yeah.
And because this is the favorite. But basically, to me, it's like, how do you take it so seriously when you're on the side and you're fighting the boss and you're saying, oh, I'm just laughing this whole time.
It's quite an adventure, that's for sure. So in this level, so we get through these dash panels here, or these I don't know what they are. They're thingies, and then Sonic is just going to go diagonally. And what's going to happen here is I'm going to land on one of the barrels, like that one right there. So I land on the barrel and I jump off of it immediately, and I'm holding the jump buttons at this point so I can bounce off this bat right here. And then it's gonna shoot me up top, and then I'm gonna be running upside down for a bit. So yeah, you kind of see I'm like going upside down. So in this section, I'm gonna be rolling into the launcher here. And while I'm off screen, once I see this about roughly halfway, I do a spin dash, like a 3-tap spin dash. And I can actually avoid all of this. And then there's like these spikes on the ground. Just draw some kind of spikes there. So I'm avoiding all of those. If that doesn't happen, so what Sonic would do, he will hit this balloon and he'll go upward and then go down to hit the spikes, and I have to make sure to land over here. Otherwise, I would have to jump, which would, pretty much eliminate slope or wheel glitch. So I don't want that to happen. So since I jumped off the barrel, it's not treated as solid ground. It is treated as an object. So I can jump off of there safely while keeping wheel glitch. But if I jumped off any other area, then I will lose it. So now what I wanted to do here is I wanted to get caught on this wall and then end up over here. But I accidentally broke it. So I had to do the backup route, which costs about roughly 20-ish seconds or so. But it wasn't that much of a time loss for me to reset the run because I know I had like bigger time saves later on. So you kind of notice that I roll into the bat and then I can jump off these barrels without losing wheel glitch. And do some more rolls. Luckily those bumpers were not in my way. So now I'm going to be panning down the camera and I'm going to do a 1-tap spin dash to get stuck up on the ceiling here. And now I'm holding right at this point, and once I start moving, I'm going to set up just a spin dash just so I can traverse through. Because what's up in the ceiling, there are like these tiny like airways that you can't really see. So Sonic is just kind of going through these airways like in a straight line. So by doing the spin dash, it actually reduces his hitbox slightly so he can actually fit through those lines, like those narrow gaps or something. So we're just going to take this top route here. And then once we see this disappear, we're going to jump out of it. And then we're going to fight the boss.
I like pizza too.
And this boss fight, we'll call him Honk 4. So we're just doing the insta shield to make sure that we don't touch the ball that's underneath him. And this is what I'm going to be doing here after the score countdown is gone. I'm going to reset the console. Because once the score counter hits 0 and you hear like the cha-ching noise, you can reset the console after Act 2 and you can do a thing called cutscene skip. So we're skipping the cutscene here, so we're entering the file again. And now you see that my zone counter is at zone 5 now. So originally it was at Marble Garden, but since we beat Carnival Night, it treated it as if I finished both zones, so it shot me up like from zone 3 to zone 5. So now we're into Ice Cap.
Pizzas for us.
So like the first 20 seconds of this level is just snowboarding. Really not much to do here. So you're just kind of, rolling down at the speed of sound, I guess. But once we gain control of Sonic, we're going to be doing some pretty cool shenanigans here.
Fire stove. Yeah, that's what's up.
So I usually like to grab this checkpoint for safety in case I mess up the trick, but thankfully I didn't here. But you'll see some stuff that I'll be doing, and I'll try my best to explain it.
Like, I love fettuccine.
So on this platform here, you'll kind of notice that I'll pause a bit, and I'm trying to line up this icicle with Sonic's head. So I'm counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then once I get on 4, I pause it, and then when I unpause, I'm going to hold right, and I'm going to get stuck on this wall here. So now I have slope glitch. So you kind of see that Sonic is in his tippy toe state. So I have slope glitch, and there's like a tiny pixel that I'm standing on, which we can't really see.
Yeah, it's very hard to see that.
Yeah, so that's why I count in my head. I actually learned that technique from Joey Baby, who's a former world record holder of this game. And he taught me a lot of things in this run. So now here I'm counting 4 as well, and then I start rolling at the end of this section here. So I'm going to get stuck inside this wall. And then as I get spit out of it, once I see that Sonic grabs a ring, or even he doesn't have to grab a ring, but he's going downward diagonally. I'm holding left at this point. And there's like a certain point in time where you hear the checkpoint go off. And then I'm going to be like pausing right about here until I see this penguin. Then I'm going to hold right. But I do make a mistake here because I think I don't end up going into Knuckles' corridor. Yeah, so I ended up in Sonic's corridor here. What I was trying to do is I was trying to listen for a spring noise so that way I can jump out of the screen wrap. But since I missed it, I ended up going to the Sonic's route. So this is actually a backup route that we're doing. Because ultimately you want to end up in Knuckles' route to skip the boss. But we're going to be ending up fighting the boss here. So you'll see how I get there. While in Act 1, by the way. Actually, no, wait. I think I am in Knuckles' corridor. Oh, yeah. This is Knuckles' corridor. Yeah, so I thought I landed in Sonic's for some reason. But I actually do make it there. So here I'm initiating a level wrap. So I'm going to be jumping in 3 spots. So I jumped in the first spot right then and there. Let me show it again. So when I'm going inside the snow here, I'm looking at these little dips in the snow. So once Sonic is inside, he can actually go inside the ground. And then until you see him do this pushing animation, you can actually start zipping in. So we're going to be zipping. And then once I see like, certain visual cues, like this section right here, I just jump once. And then the second time I jump is when I see this penguin. So I'm doing another jump here. And then for this last jump, I look at the loop here to do the last jump. And then I'm holding right. And then I hold left once I see like this part of the wall here. And this would pretty much send me over to the out of bounds area. But unfortunately, we didn't get that to happen. So we're going to be fighting the boss. And we're going to see a very interesting background. So this background is just a lot of like terrible mush.
So good. It is so good.
Yeah, I actually did mess up this fight because I was like so flustered that I missed him. Yeah, so I actually got iced a couple times, which is okay, but I still ended up killing him eventually. So you just bounce on top of him, he'll lose the platform, and then you're done with Act 1, even though we finished the Act 2 boss. So this is kind of similar to what we did in Marble Garden, but this time we're going into Launch Base, while still in Ice Cap in the File Select screen. So even though we see Ice Cap 2, we're in Launch Base now. Like, didn't even take a second. So now for Launch Base, this level is it is a level, that's for sure. So this is going to be like an escort mission. So you're going to see this flybot right here. We're going to have him follow me. So I'm going to slow down here intentionally to make sure that he's still on screen. And what we're going to be using this guy for. So we're going to get the fire shield first because we're going to be using that for the damage boost. So I'm just kind of leading him in. So now I'm going to be standing on the edge of the elevator here. I'm not completely inside yet. So I'm going to have this flybot run into me. And then I'm going to get pushed back into the elevator. And then I can set up a spin dash while I'm inside the elevator. So you kind of see that there's like the spin dash cloud right there. So I'm currently in spin dash mode while inside. And then in this section, I'm pausing 5 times because I'm trying to catch this block right here. That's my visual cue. So when I see it's lined up with the edge of the screen, I can let go of the spin dash and then it'll initiate a level wrap. So you kind of see that I'm zipping right now.
Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to much.
If I was 1 frame late, I'll get a crush death. If I'm 1 frame early, I have to jump in order to catch this level wrap. Otherwise, I'll soft lock inside the wall. So now we're actually in Knuckles' area. So you want to pay attention to my timer here. I'm going to try to beat this boss in 1 minute flat. And there's actually a good reason for this. So for these 2 guys, this is actually Knuckles' boss fight that we're in. But for Sonic, we only have to kill 1 of these. And we need to leave 1 of these guys alive. So then I will be hitting these guys. So when I see that the arm breaks off, I know that's 3. So I'm just counting in my head or I'm counting out loud. So now that's 1 minute on the timer. I kill 1 of these guys and the other guy is just kind of left alive. So he's gonna hang around and he's gonna glitch out, which is totally normal. And now we get a 10,000 point bonus. So his arm that's swinging around, it's not gonna hit me once I regain control of Sonic. So now, you kind of see Sonic was in his tippy toes. He's technically in slope glitch form again. So I'm gonna hit the boss, and then the collision of this with this ground here is gonna be gone.
How did I lose 3 seconds?
And that is the end of Launch Base Act 2. And then I land on this for funsies.
That is so fun. And I like that it looks like a peacock from when you mentioned it from before.
Yeah. So, although we finished Act 2, we can't do anything in this level because we're in the water and the water timer is still counting down at this point. So, if we end up sitting here, we're going to drown and end up playing Launch Base 2 from its entirety. So, in this instance, we're going to reset the console just like we did in Carnival Night. And then when we get back onto the file select screen, we're in Mushroom Hill now. So now we're in the Sonic and Knuckles half of the game. So now we're going to see Knuckles show up. You know, this is an intentional cutscene. We can't skip it. And this is probably like one of my least favorite tricks of the run, the door clip. So here you want to open the door up first. And then while Sonic is standing about right here, you want to get like a 1-frame jump onto the switch. And then you walk off, and I use this mushroom as my visual cue to know when I let go of the D-pad, so I can go in pretty much underneath the door here. And then you want to see Sonic's body like right where the door is right now. And then he'll clip into the ground, and then he can start zipping. This is a very beautiful scribble, by the way.
It looks like a car in a weird way.
Yeah, so you kind of see like Sonic's body is like inside the door. I should be clipping inside the ground here, but I did miss it. So I'm going to try it again. So I do a lot of pause buffering as well to make sure that I actually clip inside the ground, because this is actually a really annoying trick. So now you see Sonic is inside the ground here. So I'm just going to go to the right. Then I'm going to drop down and go to the left, and I'm going to be in this area right here. You kind of see like this J-shaped on the outside. That's where I want to be. So now I'm trying to position Sonic to line up against that J shape. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to position Sonic roughly around here. And then there's like a wall up here as well. And there's like an air pocket. So I'm trying to line up Sonic to this part of the wall. And then I can jump down to go down a level.
Get down, please.
It took me a few tries to actually get this, because when you're pushing on the D-pad just slightly, Sonic moves really fast. So if you try to do like a one tap to get like 16 pixels in a frame or something like that, it's really tough to do. So I'm like trying to get this position. It took me a while to get this, but eventually I do drop down, and then I'm jumping a few times to manipulate subpixels. And then I go right about here where this 7 or background or upside down L, or like I don't know, 7 upside down L, whatever you want to call it.
There we go.
So then what I'm trying to do here is like I'm looking at this side of the wall, and I want to make sure that the sky over here, I don't want to see too much of it. I just want to see it just a tiny bit.
Boy.
So right about there, I should be jumping down 1 level. So Sonic is roughly here. And then I do a couple of spin dashes to get Sonic in this position of the wall. And then you're going to see me pan down the camera. And then Sonic just shoots out of the screen, and then the camera just slowly goes up. There was another instance of this section where it glitches out, and the trick that I'm trying to do will not work. So I had to make sure that Sonic spawns with the camera like this. So normally this ground here, it would actually be down here if I had that glitch out during the level wrap. But since we're in the middle of it, the bosses actually spawn a lot lower, like so. So this guy right here, normally he would be up in this area, but we got him to spawn a little lower because we're going to be setting up for a really cool trick. And I want to make sure that I kill him before he goes completely to the right side of the screen. Otherwise, the trick will not work. So we had to kill him while he's in the middle of it. And then there's like these trees here. I try to line them up together. And then you see the signpost kind of go down. And then you're going to see these invisible mushrooms. We're actually inside a mountain. Like, we're inside a mountain right now. But you can't see it currently.
Okay, I gotta remember, drop down 3 times.
So now once the score countdown finishes, we're gonna go inside the ground here. And you can kind of see like the little bit of the piece of the mountain right there. So now I'm doing the same thing like I did in the earlier level wrap. So there's like these air pockets, and then there's like a corner where like I'm trying to get Sonic to jump down. So I need him to jump down 3 levels. So that I already got the first drop. There's a second drop, and then the third drop. So now you'll see me go all the way to the left of the screen. That is to make sure that I clip inside the wall properly. And then I'm going to be pausing right about here. So I need this part of the wall to be lined up to the edge of the screen. So when I see that happen, I'm going to be just zipping right through. And let me see if I can catch this frame here. So you kind of see Sonic is right here, right? Sometimes if I don't do that correctly, he'll actually shoot upward instead of clipping inside the wall, which I'm going to be doing right here. If I ended up shooting upward, then I would have to play through the rest of Mushroom Hill glitchless. So now we're inside the wall. And then I'm going to be looking for a patch of grass, which we just passed just slightly. Let me see if I can catch the patch of grass. Right about there. So when I see this pass by, I can do a spin dash and then jump out of this big ring area here. So normally there's like a door that can lock you in, but since I did the trick correctly, this will not exist. So I can just go right through. I think this is actually Knuckles' area that you can go through right there. So we basically skipped 2/3 of Mushroom Hill Act 2. Because normally you would see this this scenery be like a little grayed out or something like that, but we're still in the current color palette. And now we got on this pulley here. And then we're going to be grabbing the fire shield for the boss fight. So I'll just let this part play out, because there isn't really like any tricks to explain here.
I ended up being stuck inside the special stage room, or the big ring room.
So for this boss fight, I want to make sure to get 6 hits. And then we'll get the last 2 right here. 1, 2. And then we're done with the fight.
It is weird.
Okay, and then we're just gonna hit the capsule and we're done. And then just like in Carnival Night Act 2, we're gonna reset the console, so that way the Zolv counter will go up 1, and then it'll take us into Flying Battery.
But if it's
And this is where the fun really begins. All right, so we enter Flying Battery.
differences between those.
We're gonna pan down the camera, and then we're gonna set up a spin dash and a pause on the same frame. If I can catch it here, like that. I mean, that might have been just slightly off, but it's good enough. So once I see this, I'm gonna let go of the spin dash, and then Sonic is gonna get shot up into the zip line here.
Spin dash. Oh.
And then the camera is not gonna catch up to him correctly, so he's gonna be spinning in the ball. Normally he would be in a running form here. But once we do this and we go inside this area right here, we get this beautiful glitched out sprite called As Intended, or by design and intended. So Sonic has this ridiculous look on his face right now. And we're traversing through walls. So I do a spin dash there to get a little more speed, and we're just kind of crossing right through. And we're just gonna land right on the boss right here. And I like to call this boss, well, some of the classic runners called it Mr. Tickles, but its proper name is actually Gapsul. But this guy hits himself 6 times, but you can kind of see why we call him Mr. Tickles. Yeah, kind of. So yeah, we just gotta let him do his thing. And then on the last hit, which is coming up right here, during the explosion, I'm gonna have Sonic jump up here on this corner, and then that is gonna give me the slope glitch. and then I'm gonna stand right over here at the end of the level. So you'll see it right here. Now I'm in the air.
Okay, please get top route.
So now we're gonna carry this slope glitch into Act 2.
A PlayStation demo.
And there's actually 3 different strats you can do in Act 2. The first strat is doing the top route, which I do in this run. The second strat is going the bottom route and going the laser skip route, which is the mini boss of this level, where there's like 2 beams and then there's like a laser beam shooting at you. And then there's another strat where you go to the bottom route, but it's like a very difficult strat in which you get shot up into the sky and land into the boss arena. But that is a very risky strat, so we don't go for it in this run. So instead we do the top route. So then I pause right about here, so I kind of land Sonic around this area, and then I'm going to jump onto the ceiling, and then it should clip me inside the wall, which you'll see right here. So now I'm doing some pause buffering. So I'm lining up these dots on the line. So I'm holding right at the moment, and then I pause it, and I'm going to hold left for a bit until I pause again. So I want to make sure that I don't cross this orange looking thing here. Otherwise, this trick will not work. So I need Sonic to be going upward. And then when I see the spring, I jump out of it. And then Sonic is in slope glitch mode still, so he's kind of going up this way. So now he's going to go inside the wall and get shot up into the ceiling. Like so. So we're pretty much going to skip this entire stage by going up on the ceiling. And I'm also controlling Sonic's speed as well by tapping left a little bit. So if I have too much speed, what would happen is if I had a lot of speed, Sonic will just kind of zoom right through here, or sometimes he can actually get into the ground and then get crushed and die. So I had to make sure that I don't do that. So I land on the ground safely. And we can just like stand in that empty area. Like we're not supposed to be standing there. I just stand there. So. And we're just waiting for the bridge to come up. And you can kind of see, clear skies with the set of broken clouds.
Yeah.
Normal weather, right?
And the random ring that's coming around.
Yeah, the ring just kind of doesn't know what to do for a bit until it's trying to find Sonic, so.
Yeah, and the lightning, because of the lightning, yeah.
Yeah, the lightning shield. So now the bridge comes up, and now we're going to be fighting the boss here. So we're going to hit him 3 times. Although I think I get him 4 times here. And then I intentionally lose my shield because I want to have my insta shield for the next set here.
7, 8, 9, jump. What?
Which I messed up, but that's okay. So we'll end up killing him. 119 is a pretty good time for this level.
Alright, whatever.
You can actually get like a 112 if you get like another kind of zip, which I don't go for.
I remember I had a demo.
And I kind of notice that I'm standing right up against the capsule there. That's because Sonic will jump on his own. It actually saves a few frames by doing that. Because he's getting like a fast excel by doing that jump.
Pokemon figurines before a few too many kids.
Okay, now we got Sandopolis Act 1. So here, we're going to jump out of the sand, land here, do a 2-tap spin dash into the sand fall here. And then once we land again, we're going to do another 2-tap spin dash. And then we're going to look for this little brick here. And I'm going to do a short jump. And then I'm going to clip inside the slope. Like this. And I do the insta shield, just, kind of mash the jump button slightly. So you kind of saw that Sonic did a spin dash. He jumped right about here. And then he's going to clip right into this area of the slope. And by doing that, it's a level wrap. And he'll go all the way to the boss room. So now Sonic is actually waiting in the boss area. Or we're just waiting for the camera to catch up.
Demo disc.
So we don't have to play any of this ridiculous level.
House of the Dead.
So now this is a very boring boss fight. There's really not much to talk about here. The only thing is I'm actually behind the background layer of the pyramid. So I'm actually standing at a specific spot. I'm standing like right here to make sure this guy activates. So once I see him activate, then I'm going to go to the left side. And I'm just going to wait here. And you'll kind of notice
Other stuff.
Sonic's foot is a little bit cut off because I'm like behind it. But you know how like tile backgrounds are like level designing and whatnot. You have to like kind of do some sort of art to make it look like it's not completely a block shape.
Yeah.
So now we're just waiting for Dwayne here, Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
I love the name.
Yeah.
Best name ever.
So we pushed him off in there. And what I'm trying to do here with this signpost, I wanted to get the fire shield, which is roughly around here, but I ended up missing it, I think. Yeah, I missed it. So for Sando Act 2, you want to have the fire shield because it is actually faster. But since I didn't get the fire shield here, I'm going to be getting the lightning shield, which is the traditional route we used to do. But Eandis, who's the current world record holder of this game, he routed out the fire shield, and it is actually a lot faster. And I like the fire shield route a lot more in this level. So now here we are in Sandopolis 2, which is surprisingly a infinitely vertical level. So here you're going to see that I'm going to get the lightning shield here. And then we're going to release the ghost called Hyodoro. Actually learned that from Sega Junkie, who was formerly known as Mike89, that did this exact same run at SGDQ 2018. So now we're going to be casually clipping through the ground there because we had enough vertical speed.
Oh, I think I have seen.
And I just want to make sure I keep this lightning shield here. And we're going to go for a trick called loop clip.
That's our candy.
So for this trick here, I want to have Sonic stand right about this area, and then I'm going to jump into the loop. And then right as I land on the loop, I'm going to be holding right to run up the loop. And then right about here, I'm going to start rolling. And then you'll see that right about here. So I'm going to be pausing here. So now I'm starting to roll, right? So I'm going to roll up a little bit. And then right when I'm about here, I'm going to clip inside this wall. And we're going to be skipping the entire like rising sand section. So I'm just kind of traversing through the wall. There's collision inside the wall, so I'm just navigating through it. And then I'm going to be doing a screen wrap here and then do a 6-tap spin dash. And sometimes if I'm not on the correct cycle, this platform here can actually be a lot lower. So I would have to wait for it to come back up so I can clip inside this wall here. But luckily I had a good cycle to get inside this platform. So I'm able to clip inside just fine. And that is like roughly 2 minutes saved from waiting in that auto score section. So now here I'm going to be doing another screen wrap. And what I'm going to be doing while I'm off screen, I'm going to be jumping into this area. And then with this platform here, I'm going to clip inside the wall and then go straight downward. This is actually the fire shield route that I'm doing, but you're going to be losing the shield regardless here. So you skip like a decent chunk of the level.
Never mind, I fell in the thing.
And then the rest of this level is pretty straightforward. There aren't any more tricks that we have to do. So you kind of see that I'm doing the insta shield there to eliminate any kind of air velocity that I had. So it's giving me like control, like in the air, or regain control. So now we're going to be fighting the boss fight. And this here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to hit him 4 times, and then I'm going to jump away, and then I'm going to hit him again, and then do another 4 times so he doesn't move at all. And then by doing that, the music actually doesn't play, like for the boss music. So I just kept him there, and I finished the level in under 2 minutes, which is really good. So yeah, that is the end of Sandopolis 2. Now you can kind of see on my time here, I was a minute behind, and I just made up about 20 seconds according to my previous segment. So I made up a lot of time there. So even though I'm still behind, this next level is where the difference maker is. Lava Reef 1.
Ooh, okay.
And it'll happen towards the end of the level.
Okay.
And I'll explain what's going on. But this is pretty much straightforward. I'll be doing a couple clips here and there.
Lava beef.
So we're just doing a standard climb on these stairs. And then I'll utilize a spin dash. Sometimes you can actually clip through that block here, but there's another way you can clip inside, just like I did right there. That skips like the whole, back and around. So I grabbed this fire shield just so I could traverse through the lava. And then we're gonna be waiting for this guy here. I guess we're gonna call him, what are we gonna call him? Honk Drill?
The honk drill? How about Hank drill?
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so this elevator here, I'm gonna spin dash just once to make sure that the elevator is around this height. So that way when I do a spin dash, I'm gonna go inside here and Sonic will be inside the wall just slightly. And then you can just clip right into the wall and go down the ground like so. So we skipped like another chunk of the stage, pretty much. And this is why we needed fire shield, but I lose it because I got hit by the enemy accidentally.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, I didn't really need fire shield to begin with, but it's nice to have that extra burst of speed from doing the air dashes sometimes. And then we're going to be approaching the boss fight here. And after the boss fight, this is where the cool thing happens. So this boss fight is pretty standard. Just get rid of the tentacles here. An interesting thing, while the tentacle is going down and you destroy it, the hand will actually go up a lot quicker. If you had it upward a little more, then it'll take its time just a little bit to come up because it's on a cycle, I believe. So now we hit this guy 6 times. I'm gonna let this play out. And you'll see what I'm doing here. And I'll explain what I'm doing afterwards. Okay. This is called monitor clip. So how does this work? It is a very dumb trick. If you miss this, you end up losing a minute in Lava Reef 2, or roughly a minute.
Ooh, okay.
So now I'll try to go step by step on what I'm doing for the setup that I do. So you kind of see that I'm lining up Sonic. Let me get a different color here. I'm lining up Sonic roughly around here. And then while the signpost is coming down, I'm waiting for the first part of the bottom of the signpost to hit around here. And then the second part, I'm going to pause over here. And then for the third part, I'm going to pause when I see the monitor is upward, but we'll see it in action right here. So there's my first pause. So that's when, when I'm in pause, I'm holding left at this moment. Then I pause again to start rolling. And then when I see Sonic's sprite like this, like right on the corner of this part of the monitor, I'm holding right. Okay. And now I'm inside the ground there. So that is monitor clip. And this is the reason why I got a PB in this run. One of the biggest reasons, actually. So now for this part, I'm not zipping right away. I'm actually waiting for the timer to go to 6, and then I count about 6 3/4. So right before it hits 7, that's when I start moving. And then I'm gonna look at the timer, and when I see it go to 11, I'm gonna do a spin dash to the left. So I wanted to initially go into the pipe here, but I went a little too outward. So initially you want to be around here, and then you'll get shot up into the pipe. This is actually Knuckles' area. And then we're already at the stair clip. So for this section here, I'm looking at the crystal, and I'm doing like a 6-tap spin dash and then jump so I can clip inside this corner here of the step. I think this took me a couple tries to get. So there we go. I'm inside the step right now. So then I'm going to tap left to go right. And now I'm in Knuckles' tunnel area. So this is like, Sonic is not supposed to be here because these blocks right here, only Knuckles can break them. But from Marble Garden, if you remember when I was inside the spring, we did an object phase. So we're going to do an object phase on this second section here. So you kind of see that I'm crouching here because right after I got released out of the pipe, which is around this area here, it'll shoot me over in this area. So then I'm going to try to set up 2 quick 1-tap spin dash. And that gets me through these blocks in which Sonic cannot break. So now I'm outside of it. And then you just kind of see Death Egg just chilling there, which is not supposed to be doing that. But So then we take Knuckles' exit to go into Hidden Palace. So we completely skip the auto-scroller boss fight for Sonic. And that's like roughly 2 minutes or something like that. So yeah, then you can see in my splits, I went from plus 40-ish to like minus 16. So I saved like about a minute. And now we got the Knuckles fight. Oh no. So like the oh no that he says in Sonic Adventure. So yeah, this is pretty much just straightforward. There's no major tricks to explain here.
Yeah, it's just a fight that it's kind of the same each time.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, what's so interesting, like I can't get over how much technical, like everything that's going on. How do you keep track of everything with those visual cues? Because you have really, really sharp eyes.
I've been playing this game since it came out. And although like I started speedrunning this back in 2018, and when I was learning the game, you know, I had a lot of help from the classic Sonic runners. There was like a very well-written guide as well in speedrun.com under the guide section. There's also like video tutorials for certain tricks. But yeah, like it took me a bit to learn it. Like when I first started this game, like my best time was like an hour something. And within these past, 4 years or no, not even 5 years, I brought it down to like a 34. Although world record is at a 29:50, I still have a lot of room to improve in this run. But I was really happy with how it turned out, like, especially for the end game, because this end game was really strong for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So in Sky Sanctuary, actually, let me go back here a little bit. So in Sky Sanctuary, I'm actually waiting for Knuckles to start moving. So once he jumps out of this launcher here, I'm going to start a spin dash. So you kind of see that I'm revving up a spin dash right now. But once I see Knuckles jump off, I'm going to release the spin dash because I'm going to catch a vine that is within the cycle. So you see him jump off, I spin dash. So I'm just going to hang here, set up another spin dash, and then boom. This vine is already in line for me to jump onto. If I didn't do that, this vine would be a little higher and I would have to wait a few seconds for it to drop down. Okay, so then this section, I'm going to do a roll, and then I'm going to hit the lightning shield right from underneath so I can just go immediately back down. And then another infinitely vertical level. Gonna do another screen wrap. So we went from the bottom of the level to the top. So we skipped 2 Mecha Sonic fights here, which is scripted, but we don't have to do that. So we end up jumping up here, and now we're gonna fight Mecha Sonic. And this guy can be a pain. He has RNG. So he had to dash to the other side, which is not a good outcome. But I ended up getting 5 hits there. Then he just stood there. So I ended up getting like a sub 1 minute time. And then after this score countdown, we're going to reset the console again. So it's going to go up 1 more counter to Death Egg Zone, which is the last zone of the run. And there are 2 crucial tricks that can save a lot of time, but it can also kill your run. So this first trick here that I'm going for, I'm doing a specific strat here. So I'm doing like a 6-step spin dash, and then I'm facing left, and then I'm gonna land on the launcher that's coming up here. And then I try to jump before this last ring here, because I'm setting up for a subpixel manipulation. I ended up grabbing the ring, which is still fine. So now here, I set up another spin dash right underneath these spikes here. And there's actually a pretty good reason for that. And then I do like a lightning jump, gonna go to the wall, then jump back, and then land on top of these spikes here. And I'm gonna be crouching. So I'm gonna pan the camera down, and then I'm gonna line up this part of the conveyor belt with this dot, and I'm gonna jump out of my crouch. And then you're gonna see me clip inside the wall here. and then I'm using a conveyor belt to push me inside. So now I'm inside the wall, right about here. So I'm using the spikes to take damage, use the conveyor belt to get pushed inside the wall, and then I'm going to drop down a little bit and initiate a zip. And this part right here, this is like 30 seconds of time save roughly that I'm saving. Because that skips a huge chunk of the level. There's also another skip here called Graviton skip. This is Graviton. That skip saves roughly 7 seconds, but is also very risky to go for because you can actually soft lock in this section. So I'm like, okay, I'm ahead. I'm not going to go for that trick. I'm just going to play it out. And now we got the onion rings here. I mean, they look like onion rings, but... And now we're going to be fighting one of the most annoying fights in this game, Red Eye. Red Eye has 2 phases. One is the spinning balls. When you hit him, it explodes one of them, like a bunch of spikes shooting out. And then the second phase, he has 2 platforms and he shoots a laser beam. So here, I actually get bad RNG with the spikes exploding. I had a little bit of trouble trying to hit him because I wanted to keep my rings. So I wanted to make sure that I keep rings for this fight, because if I end up getting killed here, it'll take me back to where I got the checkpoint. So here's phase 1. Now we're doing phase 2. I struggled so much with this fight. It could have been so much better, but Red Eye just wasn't cooperating with me. So here, I'm like, you know what? Let's just get rid of him as fast as I can. But this platform just kept on hitting me.
Wow, okay, whatever.
And yeah, that's the end of Act 1. So now for Act 2, you're going to see me take another intentional death. This is just like what we did in Hydro City 2. It is to unload Act 1 from Act 2, because we're going to set up for another level wrap. And if I didn't do that, I will soft lock. So we take that intentional hit right on these spikes, conveniently placed. I mean, who would have thunk to jump into that?
Right? Yeah.
All right, so now here we're going to be grabbing the lightning shield. So there's actually 2 lightning shield boxes, funnily enough. Let me go back to that spot. Okay, so right about here. So there's a lightning shield right there. Normally I would try to grab this one, then spin dash back down into the tunnel. But since I missed it, there's another lightning shield immediately down. I don't know why they placed 2 of them, but it is very convenient for the strat. So we grab this lightning shield, and then we're gonna make sure to get the stairs back up to its original position, because we're gonna go down here, and then we're gonna set up a clip inside the wall. So now I'm gonna pan the camera down, do a spin dash, and then I'm gonna go up here, and when I see Sonic's like ball like halfway through here, I'm gonna pause again, and I'm gonna be holding right for a bit, and then right when I see this camera just kind of shift upward, Sonic will clip inside this corner here, and then he's gonna go pretty much inside the wall. And then for this section, I'm trying to get Sonic to jump into this beam area going upwards, since we're upside down, so we're trying to go up, right? Get stuck there a little bit. And then when I see, I paused a little late there. Let's see that again really quick. So we're inside the wall, and then my visual cue for this, there's like a design that looks like that, but I was looking at it from the bottom here. I have to time a lightning jump. So this is the reason why we have the lightning shield. If I get this correctly, I think it's like a two frame window. Then Sonic will get stuck right up in the mall here. And then my visual cue for it, to make sure I got it right, is the rings. If I see the rings is in line with this steel beam, I got the strat correctly. If it's above here, then that's too late. If it's down here, it's too early. So this is just right. So now I'm just zipping across the screen. I'm setting up a spin dash as well. And then we're gonna go into the boss fight. So now I zip out of the ground, And then I do like a full jump to spawn the boss that's coming up. And we like to call this boss the Uwu Ball.
The ooh ball.
Uwu Ball, yeah.
That's great.
And all we got to do here is a spin dash into the little cars that he drops down. And then just keep doing that until all 8 hits are done. If I ended up missing one of these, it will actually ruin the cycle for the boss fight in general, because he's going to throw it all over the place and then it's just going to be a disastrous. So just want to make sure you hit it right away, right as it drops, because it flips the car right back into him with the spikes lined up. So yeah, I think we got one more hit remaining here. There we go. And then for this last section, I'm going to spin dash right here. So you'll just see me spin dash, and then you kind of notice that the screen shifted a little bit. That only happens when I do a spin dash on the previous screen. So now these blocks right here, there's no collision. So there's actually a pit right here. So I want to make sure not to be anywhere within this vicinity. So that's why we had the lightning shield for that, so we can safely jump back over. Okay, so now we got the phase 1, which is the finger section. I'm gonna set up a spin dash. I'm gonna try to eliminate these fingers as fast as possible. I think it took me like 4 cycles here, or 5 cycles. That's 2. That's 3. Okay, it took me 5 because I took damage there. All right, so now for phase 2, I'm gonna position Sonic underneath the nose, and then I'm gonna do a spin dash. So you kind of see here, there's no ground, but I actually have something to stand on. So with this spin dash I'm doing, I'm dealing 8 hits right away without having to jump into it, jump over, so on and so forth like normally. So we're getting all 8 quick hits in this phase right here. So it destroys that. That's the end of phase 2. And then the final phase, which is really easy. Although I think I got hit here. I gotta kind of roll into him, try to get as many hits as possible. And then once you get the 8th hit, and then the screen fades to white. And that is the end of the run. That's time.
Nice.
And my PB from going to a 34.57 to a 34.04. I just missed the sub 34 mark by 5 seconds, but that was still a very solid run.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's really nice to see you get a PB like this. Where when you had the PB and you saw the PB moment, what did you feel?
I was pretty happy that I got a PB, but at the same time, like, man, I was so close to a 33. And I'm like thinking to myself, if I didn't make any mistakes, like, in certain levels, then I probably would have gotten that. But you can kind of, it's probably hard to see from the video, but I was behind at least 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then I brought it back with a PB of 53 seconds. So it was like a huge shift from Lava Reef 2 all the way to the end. So my end game is really strong in this run. But when I start doing attempts again, I have pretty good splits to run against. So a bunch of time saved, but a very hard end game to go up against. So, but yeah, I was pretty relieved to see a PB, but I know I can push this time a lot lower. So we're gonna keep at it with doing more attempts and such. But yeah, that is Sonic 3 and Knuckles beat the game glitch with Solo Sonic.
Yeah, well, that was really, really impressive. I really, really enjoyed watching. Honestly, this whole speed run is a great speed run just because you get to see like all the little quirky, like the sprites and how they look, and then like everything's just so out of context. And yeah, I honestly appreciate how well you were explaining all the tips and tricks, as well as all the technical side and the visual cues and everything like that. Was there anything you would like to say? Any shout outs or anything like that?
Well, first off, shout outs to you for jumping in for Richard here. Really appreciate you for doing that. I mean, we go way back, and also congrats to your recent success with GDQ. Also, huge thanks to Richard for doing the tech on the side, and then also shout out to Nuclear who brought me onto the show. It's unfortunate she couldn't be here, but we hope we did her proud with putting on some amazing performances from myself and Kirby Masta. And also a huge shout out to the Classic Sonic community for being such an amazing community. I've been part of Sonic speedrunning since 2017, but this is my favorite game of all time and my favorite speedrun of all time. So hopefully you all enjoyed the showcase here, and maybe one of these days we could see this back at a GDQ, like an actual GDQ show. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to keep grinding this game, try to bring my time low as far as I can, and ultimately get my sub 30 goal in this. And yeah, and also shout out to the chat for watching this, and appreciate y'all being here. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, chat, you're all GD cuties. Thank you, Supersonic, for having me here. I always want to surprise you. I'm always going to find ways to surprise you now.
You definitely surprised me.
That's good. I definitely, it was me and Richard. So shout outs to Richard. Send some love. And definitely really, really looking forward to seeing more of, this kind of particular Sonic run and category, because in my opinion, it's actually really, really entertaining. But yeah, I definitely have to say, follow the runner. I know we've known each other for a long time, but great talent, great content. Definitely follow Supersonic _ on Twitch. And I hope that you all had a great time. It was fun to watch everyone's victory laps today. And so just a quick reminder. Frost Vitel's prize submissions are open now until February 20th. So I just wanted to have that little sneak in reminder for everybody, just so that anyone who was interested, when the date and where to submit. It is on the website, and you can always check out the prizes there. Alrighty. Have you all a wonderful morning, day, evening, and thank you again, Supersonic. You all have
Thanks
a good
for
one.
having me.
Thank you.